Do you have a new set of earphones on tonight, Captain?
Well, I think they're pink.
Oh, I think they're looking white, but there's a cord coming down along your side. Is that to connect it to something?
Yeah, but you know what? They're not working. Because I hear it over the desktop, so something didn't go through.
Oh,
Okay. Oh well.
you're all right now?
I don't have them on. I can hear it. If you can hear me, we're all right.
Yeah, you took them off. I just wondered if you were still hearing it okay, which is good here.
Yeah. I did so we don't have to beep, 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 beep all through the evening, but I can live with that. I'm just hanging out. Tomorrow, my procedure 2 weeks ago seems to be working pretty good. Tomorrow, I'm going to venture into the shop and just play with some stuff. And that's serious. Just play with some stuff. They told me I have to do that to build it back up again. And
Okay.
that's where I'm heading.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Well, go at it slow and you'll get it back.
Oh, yeah. My wife, my blood pressure is at the low. I could be dead 10 minutes and my blood pressure wouldn't be this low. My blood pressure is the lowest it's been in a long, long time. And if I eat something, it's got to come from management. There's nothing out of a can. There's nothing out of a box. There's nothing over the counter.
Oh, my.
This is killing me. It's really saved my life, but she's killing me with this. Who's turning what this week?
I was just working on a couple more wig stands, and the lady from the local hospital here came and got them.
Great.
She really liked them. She had no idea what I was talking about when I spoke to her when she phoned me from the hospital. See, the people at the retirement center here contacted the hospital to see who was in charge of these 3 wig stands that I had, and that hospital here in Butler, Pennsylvania, donates the wigs to the ladies.
That's nice.
Yeah, we had never heard of anyone donating these wigs because our understanding is they cost $300, $400, $500 for some of those wigs, and here they are donating them. I know my wife, when she needed one, when she had pancreatic cancer, it was somewhere around $300, and it came with a little styrofoam stand or something that you could hang it up on. And she thought these wooden wig stands was really a neat thing for these people to get them, you know.
Yeah, we have a contact at the oncology group where my wife donates the quilts because she's a quilting queen, really. And she's got a contact over there. It's not the hospital we go to. The one we go to and the one I love doesn't have a program, and they're very, very conscious of anything coming into the hospital. And I don't think we can qualify, but we got a big one across town we'll go to.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys get put out of business.
I do too. I hope we overload the market so bad that it's unbearable. But hey, every time we do one, it's for good. Every time.
Yes, it is. Oh, and you know, lumber's gone up so much in price and everything. And I have some good contacts here with a charitable group that's like Habitat for Humanity. And I called the manager of it today, which I know very well, and asked him if he had any cutoffs of 2x4s and 2x6s and that. And he's saving all of them when they do remodeling and or rebuild an old broken down house for these poor people. And he's going to save all these cutoffs for me. So, and he's very interested in charity work that people want to do for different organizations. So
that's great. We need to get
a contact for some of the for the cutoffs.
Looks like somebody's got that big comfy chair out tonight.
I have that.
Good evening, Martin.
Evening, Eddie. You well?
I
That
am
is
well.
that is a
Good evening,
stylish
everyone.
chair he has there. Look, it's got a headrest up the back and the whole
I
bit.
was so sick of sitting on a wooden seat. I spend that much time in Zoom meetings and conferences these days that I decided I'd buy myself a new chair, and that's exactly what I've done.
Looks like a great one.
So what I need to do is I need to turn it around, and then I can be a bit more like lying down the bottom there, and we can go this way.
Well, that's very stylish.
I do.
I don't feel like it's right. I just need to move my telly. Ronnie, you're not even smiling down there.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, Ronnie.
Hey, Ryan. Zoom has us all spoiled because the day we have to go back to meeting face to face and getting out of your easy chair, we're going to be in trouble.
And
Yeah.
put your pants on, right?
Yeah, that's right. The pants on thing.
Right.
So, you can't even say, okay, I'm not going to do my hair anymore because when you got video, everybody sees your hair.
I did my hair.
Yeah, look. Tom in Tennessee says he ain't got a hair problem, right, Tom?
That's right.
I
I
do
don't
my
think
hair
that-
like Eddie does his,
Yeah.
with a washcloth or something.
Wax on, wax off.
Home
evening,
companies that
everybody.
make money off of us.
I know a guy when I was in the Air Force, and I think it was Guam, a guy walked up to one of the sergeants and says, I know how you do your hair. And the guy said, how's that? And he said, with a washcloth, the old line. Big time fight. I mean, they were in the street. Funny as could be. Everybody talked about it. You'd see people walk around with the washcloth, doing it, I was checking today to see if SWAT has posted their registration open. And as of right now, it's still not open. I'll mention it during the evening. But
AAW opened theirs today.
Pardon me?
AAW, I just have an email here that said that registration was open for their virtual symposium.
Oh, that's good. Oh, for their virtual symposium.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been catching up on the Penn International Penn Association Symposium. I think I'm almost done. So, but it had some good presentations.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Drewer, he's a really good guy. He really knows his stuff. And a lot of casting stuff, a lot of people.
Oh,
I can't wait to see Kim's molded wig stand.
oh, yeah.
Breaking it out tonight?
I don't think she's moving, resetting a bathtub, all kinds of things. So she might not have turned this week.
Yeah, she mentioned something about moving on her video, and I don't know if she, like you said, don't know if she'll be turning or not.
If you're in the neighborhood, she's got wood to give away.
Take a drive, Eddie.
If I was permitted to, I'd be on my way. Number one, to see her.
I live in Western PA. I ain't driving 18 hours.
Just to visit her because that woman's a kick. I mean, I don't know of anything she can do. Well, she's a kick. She is. You got to like that in a woman.
She
That's that she's that determined and that self-made. You got to admire that.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Not just, but I got to get off the sexist thing. It's not just a woman. Admire anybody's got the kind of drive in life.
Eddie?
Yo,
I just noticed somebody checked in. I think the first name is Ruben, and he's from Alaska.
Wow.
Oh,
Ruben, hello, good evening.
It's only 3 o'clock there, so no biggie.
Well, hello there. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. And the sun's at 10 o'clock, so it's pretty bright all the time.
I know that.
Is this a first for you?
No, I've been trolling in the background off and on for the last few months.
Well, welcome. We didn't notice that you were from Alaska.
Thank you. So,
We're getting around a little bit. We got Sand Springs, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Michigan. We got a pretty good crowd in here tonight. Donald's in from Australia.
Don't forget about Donald from Australia. And
Yeah, Donald's in.
Martin from the UK.
Our demonstrator tonight
Oh,
will be
from the
Hannaby.
UK?
I missed that, Eddie. Who's the demonstrator?
Paul Hannaby.
Oh. Okay.
Mention right now, folks, we're still looking for demonstrators every week. Last week was fantastic. I mean, my wife says, how do you go to sleep? I worked my butt off last week trying to keep notes, do this and everything else. It was fantastic. I get worked up on it, but hey. It's wood turning, it's friends, it's something I love. You gotta live it all.
You write my safety moments down?
Well, it's a little bit early. It's not even 6 o'clock, but I got so you email about it. Jason's with us tonight.
Yep. Can you hear me tonight?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I
All
ended
right.
up adding a Wi-Fi extender to the house so that I could actually have decent service out here in my little workshop.
Johnny Hughes has got that. He's got an extender because his shop's a metal building in back of his own.
And mine's a shed out behind the house.
Yeah, I ran 2 wired internets out there, but then some stuff wireless works anyway.
It's what we will go through today.
Yeah.
I love it. Ronnie, you didn't adjourn today. You're trying to stay high and dry, right?
We barely staying dry. I think for the year, our rain total is about 40 inches, and they're saying that's about 20 inches above normal. But
Yeah.
just since the first of the year.
Oh, man.
Well, one thing's for sure, in a couple of weeks, we'll really need something to do for the grass. Buy a cow or something.
Y'all,
I lost you, Ronnie. Somebody mute out? Ronnie, you back?
I'm here.
Okay, you went quiet.
I said, Mr. Johnny Hughes just checked in.
I see that.
Yeah.
Good evening, Johnny.
Good evening there. How are y'all today?
All right, man. He's got his uniform and all on tonight.
Well, I was out here turning a few things.
Good.
Wig stands.
Great.
You're going to catch up with the 37 that Ronnie's done?
Not anytime soon, anyways. That's a tough goal to make there.
Well, it gives you a target. You know, you got to have a target.
Well, you're right there. That'll work. Yeah.
I've been put on hold right now. She don't need any more, so I got a few backups. So when she needs them, I'll give them to her and then start again. So I've been wanting to get out in the shop this week. I have something I want to make, but it's been raining so doggone much. I've been staying out of the shop.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain here. We had 2 3/4 inches yesterday, so it's almost an inch this morning.
And today was a rough day for us because they had a tornado come through the city last night and did quite a bit of damage.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate over here. A lot of rain and a lot of lightning, but that's about it.
Yeah. So.
Flash and Bang shows something else. I have a 130-pound black lab puppy. She's 10 years old, but I mean, when it bangs, I can get rid of it. If it bang right now, she'd be underneath my chair. And during the night, I mean, as soon as it bangs, she's nudging on my wife's bed. You know, like, hey, help me out, help me out, help me out.
Oh, Hannaby just checked in.
Hey, Eddie,
I hear
What?
you.
my club made wig stands in conjunction with a few other clubs. Now, New Jersey mostly, but one of the clubs was the Bayou Wood Turners from Louisiana.
Yeah, those outlaws. Yes. I
They
was
made
president
wig
of that,
stands.
I was president of that group for 10 years.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hey, Paul. Good evening,
Hey, Paul, how
sir.
you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
And I'm trying to get back to the chat because David J. from Michigan says he's got a jig to show. David, you got to talk because I can't find you yet. So just say a few words. A few words. I'm just supposed to have.
Hey, okay, I'm right here.
We can't see you, David.
Okay, just a second here. Start the video. All right.
Now we got you.
All right. We were talking last week about wig stands, the bases and the tops and everything else, how to lay it out for the circles and everything else. I came up with an idea that I seen a long time ago that if you took a jig for your bandsaw, I have something like this here. Can't get quite get it all on there, but there's a pin right here.
Yeah.
And the size, this thing here slides. And the size of your diameter of half of what your diameter is, what you want to make in a circle, you can just put a pilot hole in the bottom of it, like those the bases there would have a hole for your spindle. So you just take a little pilot hole, eighth of an inch, whatever, and stick it on that little thing right there. Then you can make it 4.5, 5.5, whatever you want to do in diameter, and you don't have to do no laying out. Only thing you have to do is find the center of the wood that you have by a ruler crisscross, we want to call it. And the thing is, you can adjust this out to whatever you want to adjust, and the bandsaw blade would go right here. And it would stop right there every time you slide it in and out to set up your the cutting. And as you go in, you have to start sliding it in. You have to, when you turn it, you would end up with something like this here. The pilot hole is here, and this is removable. I lost it here, and it would go on there like that there, like that. Anyways, it would come out to a perfect, just about a perfect circle to put on your lathe, and then you got a hole here. You can line yourself up with your screw or your screw chuck, and then when you go to put it on your chuck. This is what it would look like on your chuck. You put your recess in there, you put your bottom, everything, then you do everything that you need to do on your bottom, and then you put it on your chuck. The next step is to put it on your this here jaw to recess it out, to grab it so you can do the top side of it. So that you'd only have 2 steps. You wouldn't have to do hardly any laying out. You wouldn't have to line anything up. All you'd have to do is put it on your chuck.
The nifty thing. Wood Magazine had a jig like that would go on your bandsaw. I probably made mine 20 years ago. And it was made for that bandsaw.
Yeah. See, I don't know what that is, but
somebody else didn't turn the sound off.
See, this is a handle that
somebody's sharpening a tool.
Now, this is
called
this is the
Hannaby.
handle here. You tighten it down to make your dimensions on your diameters,
Mm-hmm.
so it won't slide.
Yeah.
And then
You
when
know what?
You can even
Some
use
folks-
a blue box.
Yeah, some folks don't believe that that will save your bandsaw blade.
Yes.
Because if you get the cut at the right place where that pin is in line with the furthest out tooth of your blade, you will not be curving. You'll be cutting straight all the time as you go around the curve.
Yeah. So I thought I'd come up with this thing here. I've seen it in a magazine, like you said, that I don't know what magazine it was, or I think I said it on YouTube, really. And I sort of copied and made my. I have a Shopsmith bandsaw, so I made it fit my Shopsmith so that I could do this.
Andy,
So that
all right.
so that's what I came up with.
And I know Rockle or one of those other groups, a catalog service that starts with an R, they make one. I've got one of my, a table that's got a slide that goes on a table.
Yeah.
Pardon me, and it goes over your metal bed.
But the reason I have a little tiny disc like that there, you can take that little disc, take that pin out of it. You can actually turn something with a double tape where you don't have to have a hole through it or even a hole in your part, so you can make a pretty good true circle.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. Thank you for sharing that this evening. We always looking for those rigs and jigs. Gary in Oklahoma says, I have another tool I make yesterday. Okay, Gary, you got to talk a little bit. We'll find you, bud.
Okay, I'm talking.
And I got you.
If you remember, I also made that boring tool with the 5/8 inch rod, and I made the handle. Well, if you see the, that's a 5/8 inch tip that I got from you, a Carbide one, and I had not made a tool for it. So I got another length of 5/8 tube or rod, cut it. Then I flattened it on the mill to give me a flat surface to work on. Then I milled for underneath the bit, drilled and tapped it, and now it sticks into my beast handle. And I did one heck of a boring out of a bowl I'm working on right now this afternoon. So it was working really good. But that's the latest. But I thought, well, I could do a 5/8 inch rod and use that same handle for another tool.
That's a handy idea.
Invented.
Thank you for sharing this evening, sir. I really, really appreciate it. We went a week or so ago, and I think I had the note here last week. So we had a demonstration on a 3-sided box. One of our members turned a 3-sided box. And you remember, folks, I don't do names. And they would talk about dressing off the finished edge. And I said something about spray gluing a piece of sandpaper to your table saw top. Out looking at things from the shop the other day, I realized I gave that idea up 10 years ago. And I found a glass sample of insulated glass from, at that time, I was working with some architects and people would turn in the samples. I took a glass sample that's insulated, and you can get those at your local glass company, not Home Depot. You get the sample and it's 12 by 12, and you can spray glue a piece of sandpaper to the top of it. And if you're real fancy, put some 180 on the top and put 220 on the bottom. And when you take that block that you want to dress the edge off of and you pass it across that block, it will be dead flat. And you won't put a hook or a curve or anything else in it. Just keep it dead flat. Because I caught a little flack over that spray and hook it to your table saw thing. My table saw was the major work table in my shop for years and years and years. And if I ever find it again, I'll probably do that again. Okay. We got Rusty says hello from Idaho. All right. Oh, I say we recommend something, or we mentioned something we have to give you referrals to. Matt Harbor says that the item I was talking about, the table for your bandsaw, is made by Rockler. It's an Accurite circle jig for bandsaws. And he put the link in our chat. Now, today I got a call from a guy that said, I keep saying, save the chat. He saved the chat. Now he says, what can I do with it? I can't open it. I'm looking for tech advice. Imagine he's worked with a DOS unit or a Windows unit. Because I'm working on a Mac unit and I can open it on my iBook, my iPad, my MacBook Pro, and my phone. Yeah, I'm geek conscious. And I can look at it then. What's that, Matt?
It's a straight up text file. It's just text. And it has, on my system, on a Windows system, it's just got a .txt extension, file extension, which any text reader, even like the basic notepad or whatever, will open it up. So
that's where I get mine from. I throw mine in notes when I save it.
Yeah, it's just, I just saved the existing chat right now. I went to look at it. It's just text. So, you know, basically any program that'll read a text file, anything that, even a word processing program will read it. So.
Yeah, I have the sync. Everything, when you throw it in the main computer, goes everywhere. So I've been throwing mine in a sync, and I had to sit and wait outside the clinic the other day for about an hour. And man, I'm scrolling through my iPad, just reading the chat. Amazing the things I missed that were on there, that get posted every evening. And I try to peek at chat doing out the program. Like Rusty Gates says, he uses wet dry sandpaper, wets the glass a little bit, and makes it easy to change the paper. Just spray the glass and lay the paper. Water contact. Now, who would have thought that? The Egyptians?
Correct.
Eddie?
Hey.
I think we got Mr. Bob Moffett that just came in. Bob, if you can hear me, come on to the front. Come on to the front, because I got something to show you.
Well, I'm right here.
Lady, okay, Bob. Everybody that knows Bob Moffett now knows he's the birdhouse king. Bob?
And I got me a new birdhouse.
Okay, well, wait a minute.
I'm waiting. You got one out of 2x4s?
No, this past Sunday was Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So my daughter gave my wife, I'm calling it a birdhouse patio.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that.
That's a fancy one.
I'm calling it a birdhouse patio.
Now you could put a buzzard in that thing.
I'm gonna put it outside, and I'm gonna put a police sign on it.
You ought to put a sign that put Bob on top of it.
Yeah. Bob's patio.
Are you saying
That's
that you're a
cool.
buzzard, Bob?
Are you challenging Bob to make one that big now?
When I seen that, Bob, I thought about you. I said, I got to bring it to the meeting.
Yeah, you should have. I'm glad you did.
You got a new one, Bob, to show us tonight?
Yeah. Natural edge one.
I like that. Flipped over
Very,
next
very,
slip.
very nice, very nice.
Did that out of some scrap from some bowls I turned.
You turn bowls? I didn't know you
Once in a
did that.
while, you got to get the scrap to turn birdhouses.
That's nice.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome, sir. We get a lot. Hey, folks, if you're a Facebook, I'll get this right, Facebook fan, you may have seen an photograph that Kay Bolgers got up this week. He's in that challenge. Dane's in that challenge. You know, where you challenge folks to put up 10 of your items. Dane, do I have it right?
Got it right. 10 items, 10 days.
10 items, 10 days. He put a piece up. Did you see that? Did you see the piece that the bulb with the spike on it?
That was pretty. I saw that.
That thing is awesome. I had to save the photograph and close up, do a real close up on it to see the line where it's separated. That's the grain match was that perfect. The lines of the piece was that perfect. And if you don't see it, folks, go to Cade Bolger's website and look for it. It is, and I'm going to put it in this month's newsletter or June's newsletter because it is awesome.
Did anybody see the wine glass that somebody posted from a few years back with Captain Eddie had made? I wonder if anybody saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, I
The
saw that.
spiral stem.
Yeah, I saw that. That was nice.
Collaboration, and it was auctioned for PBS, if I remember right.
That's right.
I think he ought to do a demo on that.
I'm working on that. I put the details for the jig in the June newsletter. It's a full page and it's got a template that, or a guide that you can make it, because I can't make a template. It's got to fit your lathe. But it's a way to make a jig to do that using your router on your lathe. The beauty is you don't turn on the lathe. Here's the operational lathe is done right here. That's the left hand. And you just swing it through the arcs because you feel it and you have more control here than that motor does. Motor's got torque and it's going to keep going. If it loads that, it's going to keep going. It'll blow it off the piece. Don't ask me how I know about that.
Hey, Captain, that's stem looked like a camshaft from a V8 engine.
It was a V6.
Yeah. Oh, V6. Okay. That's an awesome. You did an awesome job on that.
Thank you. I played with it on my ornamental lathe for a while, and I was thinking of rigging it up. And the ornamental, not everybody can build or make or want to pull the ornamental.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking, if I can do this on the crankshaft thing, imagine what I could do to a bowl or a vase or a plate or anything else when I can do detailing on a off-centered concentric basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Alfred.
Alfred, while we got you rolling up there,
I tried your
effort sharpening.
Alfred, I tried your blue
yes.
technique on a piece.
Yeah, you were talking about the sharpening, and this is, I mean, it's all messed up now. I need to change the sandpaper. But this is what I use for sharpening, like my woodworking chisels, flat chisels and stuff. This is what they call the scary sharp. And I got different grits on it, 320, 600, and it goes all the way up to 2000. And this is I use this to make a, sharpen the edge, and then I raise it a couple of degrees and do a micro bevel on it so that, I don't have to go and sharpen the whole area, the whole surface at one time. But something like this, we're talking about the 3-point board. That's why I came up with this.
What is the base? What is the base again?
This is just a 1 foot square tile, floor tile.
Yeah,
You're not going to trip over that when where you picked it up at in the kitchen? I mean,
no. Yeah, it's just a piece of floor tile, and it's actually very smooth. I got this from Home Depot, and just with spray some glue on there, and when they're all finished, I just tear them up and put new ones. But something like this can be used for that 3-point board. You can put sandpaper, different grits if you want, and you just sand it, and you get all at one time.
And it's dead flat. That's the beauty. It's dead flat. You won't curve any corner, turn any corners.
Yes, perfectly flat. So,
thank you, Alfred.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I use the same thing.
Alfred?
Yes.
Alfred?
Yes.
You take that same floor tile and you get yourself a cereal box and cut the back panel out the cereal box and put the brown side up and put some lapping compound on it. And that makes a good sharpener.
Yes, it does. Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. I usually dry, and sometimes I even use water because this is, you know, metal sandpaper. It's like with carborundum, so sometimes I wet it too, and it keeps it clean, especially the 2000, because it loads up easier. So I just spray some water on it, and it keeps it clean all the time. Then at the end, I just blow it with air and ready to go.
Ronnie, aging yourself, because there's a whole lot of folks out there that have no idea what lapping compound is.
Yeah.
I learned about it about 60 years ago when I was in cabinet making school, and I sharpened my wood chisels for the first time. And the old man that was my mentor came up, looked at it, he said, "This is nice. Go stick it in the garden out there where it'd be useful, because you can't cut wood with it." Because I'd hooked the back. I didn't know, and I hooked the back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use a lot of that for. I'm starting doing some carving, so I'm learning how to hone the chisels. Yeah, it's nice. And Henry Morgan, I don't know if he's on today or not, but he's been trying to help me to learn how to carve. He's an expert carver. So,
He is. I've seen some of his work.
Yeah.
For us, that still goes to a barber. There's some people that I know that don't go to a barber anymore. Ask him to give you a look at that. Eddie, you blinded me.
Yeah.
Lapping, is that like going around in a circle?
Yeah, I did a lot of lapping in my life. I'm a tool and die, so we do use that a lot of lapping in the industry on matching parts to get them to slide. And what are you doing there, Cap?
Well, I'm trying to help out Ronnie. That's all.
It must be sunny in there.
He cut down on the glare. Now we can see.
Oh,
Now,
I thought maybe it's sunny in there.
Barbershops too, though. I don't go to a barbershop very often.
There you go.
But you could if you needed to.
I could if I needed to, but I don't.
Ronnie, you're the guy with the bright window behind you. We can hardly see you too. So,
Well, yeah, that's curtains hanging back there.
Well, I got blackout curtains, so I don't have that problem, but
There you go.
Your mileage may vary.
Bob Moffat says, I have a couple of pieces to show and one using Alfred's balloon technique.
Oh,
yeah.
This
is one.
Keep going.
This is one that I did with using Alfred's balloon technique on the Josiah paints.
That looks awesome. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. What's the coloring you have on there? What colors did you use?
The Josiah paints. It's
I know you have gold.
Black. No, it was black and then purple and green, and then this is gold.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah.
And this is one I did with the same piece of elm I did with the Josiah paints.
Is the rim textured?
Yes, it's textured.
Okay.
I textured it and then put the paints over top of the texture.
How did you do the texture?
Did it with the Sorby texture, this large Sorby texturing tool.
Okay.
Did
yeah, that came nice.
Angle this way and then an angle this way.
Yes, crosshatch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that came out nice.
Thank you.
You know, with that Joe Sanya iridescent paint, you can do so much with it, and it doesn't have to be a balloon. You can. There is another way that I do is I put drops of paint and then I use airbrush, but with no paint on it. I just use the airbrush as a medium for moving the paint around. And just airbrush, because if you use a regular, compressor, that's too much. You're just gonna blow the paint all over. So what I do is I put a drop of paint and then I use the airbrush with about 25, 30 PSI, and I can move the paint where I want. In fact, that platter that Henry Morgan showed last month, that's how we did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he laid paints in there, and then I showed him how to use the airbrush, and he used the airbrush and he moved the paint wherever you need. And it depends on how much medium you put with the paint, the flow aid. there's a flow aid that you use. You can't use water because water thins it down. You need something that makes it spread easier. Water just changes the color in there. So by using this flow aid, the more you make it fluid, the more it can move around and the more transparent it comes, and it will show because you have a black background, it will show through that. And once you start moving around, you see all the different colors.
Yeah, I've been using the Liquitex thinner.
The flow medium, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Joe Sonia. You can use any flow medium, you know, that all work. So.
The trick to that is knowing to keep that pressure down on an airbrush.
Yes, and also the way you angle the airbrush, you can go like straight in, so it's gonna disperse it equally all areas. Or else, if you want to put the paint, you have to aim it where you want to put the paint to go.
Sometimes I do it with my compressor turned down to about 20 pounds and use 2 little swirls. That sort of comes out neat.
Yes, you can do that. As long as you have the orifice on your gun very small, then it's okay. If the orifice is too big, it's gonna, you know, puff it out.
Yeah, this is real. This so like a tube on the end of it.
There you go. And you can, or else you can put just a nozzle in there and screw it on, and it gives you the same effect, really.
Yeah. John Scalfo in New Jersey says he uses Windex for flow aid.
Well, that'd be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was buying that Floetrol for when we were doing the paint pours. I was buying that stuff by the pint, so I got a lot of that.
Yeah, that dirty pour.
Yeah, the Floetrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden makes a whole line of that stuff too. They make iridescent and interference paints for the airbrush, and they make media too. So Golden is, I mean, you know, that stuff you can buy, you know, at the corner art store. So
they're a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah. Yep.
They are, and there is another way that I use the Joe Sonia paints is I always make. I found out that the background is required. It has something has to be black, and then like I do a platter and I do all black, and then I do Joe Sonia and I just paint them on irregular, no pattern or nothing, just paint them on. Then I use a piece of saran wrap, put it on it, and with my finger I move around the paint, take the saran wrap, and you'll be surprised at what you see. That's
I think painters used to call that modeling. When they would model with a piece of even newspaper or brown cloth, and then model over something. And where I went to cabinet making school, there was a arts painting and arts and painting class where you could bring things you made and it would do the finish on it. And these guys could make a mantle look like it was marble and vary it from piece to piece to piece. So you could see what marble would look like running horizontal and slabs and all that. That was an art.
Yeah. And then also you can get the saran wrap, you know, make it into a ball and just dip it into the paint and turn it around this way or slide. So you can make any shape that you want. It's just playing, you know, try and play. And then I just use that satin lacquer on it. I don't want it very shiny at that point. But that's how I do it.
Another tip hit right here on worldwidewoodturners.org. This evening, Paul Hannaby is going to do a demonstration for us, folks. And if you haven't checked it out, go to our website. Now, a guy called me today, and I get a lot of calls, and I love this. You know, a guy called me today. He says, I'm looking for a show I missed 3 weeks ago. How do I find it? Website. How do I find the chat? Website. How do I find the demonstration? Website. Tips and hints and directions. Website. Plans and details. Website. You hear that? Website's coming up a whole lot here, David. And David is our webmaster, and it is absolutely fantastic. And if somebody's got a question about this organization, that's the first place I send them. Go there and you'll find it. I go there and see the photographs that come in. Besides what I receive in the mail from the newsletter, I go to check out what other folks send in. We're looking to get all that information on the world's greatest website for wood turning with no admission fee. no commitment, no obligation, no money, and no money. But that can happen right here in this group. And folks say the group I created, I didn't create this group, folks. I did not create this group. I threw an idea out there to about a dozen friends and said, what do you think? And they were all around the world. And they all came back and said, why not? We can do this, can't we? And the naysayers were saying, no, you'll never pull it off. I'm not beating that horse anymore. We pulled it off. I love this. I live and die for this right now. And a couple of weeks ago, I had a poll that I want to put about expanding the programs. I got to work out the details, but I can't post a poll right now. But I'm trying to figure out why I used to be able to. Systems not let me to do it right now, but we'll get past that because been asked, can we move the time? Can we expand it? Can we change the date? Can we do this? Can we do that? We do anything you want. Really? That's why, because you're the boss. So we mentioned that. Photos to the newsletter. Oh, I'm collecting photos to the newsletter. Our newsletter this month might be 10, 12 pages long again. A lot of photographs, a lot of tips and hints coming in, a lot about building tools. I mean, we've seen tools members showed us tonight that have reworked tools and came up with ideas. And today I talked to a guy that said he was having some problems with his Carbide scraper. And I saw his video. He was doing a OB Shine Juice video. Boy, the OB Shine Juice makes it feel so good. Because where I came from, the history of it. He was doing an OB Shine Juice demo, but when he cut it, he was, I'll be nice about this, he was plowing wood. Think of him going out to the field, putting a plow down and pulling it through. What do you get? You get stuff sticking up, tears, ribbons, fuzz, except it's a lot more coarse than fuzz. And you damage the material. But guess what? If you were to turn that plow on the side and run it down a little bit shallower, you'd get a cut. So I was talking to him about this, and I said, you know, go out and take your cutter, your bar, and your belt sander, my friend, and knock a 45-degree off that bottom, the way he's right-handed, so it's left-hand lower corner. Take it over to your belt sander and belt sand off that side, off that corner. How much? 1/8 of an inch. How much do you need? It's going to be a bearing point. It's not going to be a bevel point. It's going to be a bearing point. What you will do is you're going to be taking that blade, and instead of going straight in plowing, you're going to go in like this, and you're going to do more of a slice. That's the Mark Soleil term for it, slicing. And he's absolutely right. If you change the method of attack, you will get a slice. And you'll take off less wood, but you take it off nicer and sweeter. It's like when I get my hair cut, I can do it with a straight razor. When Ronnie gets his hair cut, he's going to use a weed whacker.
Hey, John.
I guess I get paid extra for the abuse, huh?
Hey, you know, sometimes you get what you earn. Sometimes you earn what you get.
All right.
Hey, Captain, on that same point too, you know, how you said you're shearing. I always bring, you know, to the newer turners, I explain to them how the slicing work. When you sharpen a pencil, you don't sharpen it like this. We always turn it so as you can slice. You're not going straight into the fibers. And the same like when you're planing, you don't go straight, you're trying to skew it, and you'll be taking the tips on the grain at different levels so you don't plow in. So if you go like that on a pencil, you're gonna get a piece out. If you're gonna go sideways on an angle, you're gonna get a curlicue. So I try and explain that's how you're supposed to use your tools as a shearing on your wood to get those curlicues coming out instead of either you know, shavings very small or like dust. And that seems to help, you know, when I explain it like that.
It's an excellent teaching technique. I mean, look, my favorite plane in the world is my block plane. And I bought it in 1962 at Sears. It's an awesome plane, but never straight down the piece. Always cocked up on the angle when I got to remove a shoulder or something like that. As Alfred was just saying, you think about how you cut something with your pocket knife, and then you take that to your turning tools. And for your beginning turners, if you are watching YouTube and these guys have got shavings flying up over their head and all this stuff, you don't want to do that. It might be nice on wet wood. It might be nice on something that's very pliable. It might be nice to show off, but turn the machine off and look at the wood. That's all I want you to do. Just turn the machine off and look right at the wood, and you will not be happy with what you've created or failed to create. And that's where we're supposed to go, folks. If you slice it, better cutting, better slicing, better detail, better work. Paul Hannaby says he's got, whoop.
Someone thought he was waiting for his demo and Paul came back and said that he was looking for something.
Oh, no, okay. No, we're going to crank up Paul right at 7 o'clock. That's 22 minutes away. And at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, we got to throw it in for Doug Rhodes.
Rusty, ask away.
Who's got a gap? Got a question? Rusty, go ahead. Rusty. Okay.
What is a good finish for wet wood?
Okay, you got that one, Dane. Go for it.
Ooh, so wet wood. Are you talking wet wood as in final dimension or wet wood for storing it away for doing a twice turned?
I'm wanting to make a mallet for my son out of a piece of tree that's out in the backyard.
Okay.
And so I want to
so
turn it wet, and I want to put something on there that's going to slow it down drying so that it'll
so if you use a diluted solution of denatured alcohol and boiled linseed oil on your as the finish for it to go in, it'll push out the water molecules and the cell fibers. It'll cure, it'll bond with the wood, and that'll slow down the moisture release as you're waiting for it to finish drying.
Okay, because I wanted something, you know, I want to make something for him out of this piece of wood that's still standing out there.
Right.
And I want to make it and him be able to use it, you know, in a reasonable amount of time.
Hey, Dane, would I be stepping your toes if I said that you don't want to dry it real fast?
No, you do not.
So don't put it in the sunlight. Don't put it in the breeze. Don't put a fan on it. I take mine and put it in a bag, a brown paper bag of shavings, and I put it back down the floor of the shop, and about once a week, open it up and let it breathe.
And don't wrap it, and do not wrap it in cellophane because that'll cause mold to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I found out that the thicker the wood, the slower it has to grain, because you need to leave the inside to catch up with the outside. So you want the outside to slow dry, so the moisture from the inside goes towards the outside to dry. You try and dry it too fast, it's gonna crack immediately.
Because the water inside is trying to
put it in a
escape.
plastic grocery bag either.
No.
Oh, plastic grocery bags are a waste of your time, money, and effort.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Actually, we've got a store here called Winco that actually still has the pick size grocery bags, paper ones. And I always grab a few extras when I go there.
Yeah, we go to Whole Foods for some novelty items for the dinner, because the food I have to eat now, and they don't have plastic bags in the building, not at all.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah,
All right, hope that helped you out, sir.
I use brown paper bags when I'm drying on, in the microwave, and we covered that, I don't know, a couple meetings ago, several months ago or whatever. We had a big discussion on that. But I use the brown paper bags in that process, and the reason why you do that is so that it retards the moisture coming out of the wood, so it regulates it. Like Alfred's saying, is you don't want the outside to dry quickly and much quicker than the inside. You want it all to dry evenly, and that's how you avoid cracking. So there's no reason why you couldn't use a brown paper bag in the long term if you're just letting it dry naturally too.
Yeah. And we're out to save a few bucks. A guy the other day I spoke with, he wanted to take me to task because we talk about sealing green wood before you turn it. And he said he can't afford that anchor seal because of the cost.
I don't use that. I don't use that stuff at all. I just throw it in the shop on a pile, and if it's dry, it's dry. If it cracks, it cracks. And
I paint mine with latex paint. I got a ton of latex scraps.
Yeah.
And you get a quart of latex paint, the odds and ends at Home Depot for $3. Yeah, you don't know what the color is and how it's going to work, but it's latex paint. Latex paint.
Yeah, you find people using wax and they try and melt it and drip on it. That's too much. But as you said, Captain, that's the best way. All you want to do is seal the ends of the straws so that you slow the drying. And latex paint is perfect for that. You just need to cover that so that moisture doesn't escape from there.
Yeah, you can use latex paint, or you can take the cheapest Elmer's glue you can find, water it down, about half water and half glue, and that works great too. Anything that's going to seal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that latex paint works great. Alfred, I put that post on the DOS site about my buddy who's giving away some of his wood. I got a bunch of his wood a while back. A couple of years ago, he gave me half a shed of his wood that he was getting rid of, and it was all painted with pink latex paint, and it box elder and cherry and all kinds of stuff, and it turns just fine right through that
exactly.
latex paint. And I know where it came from.
Yeah, I know people actually who what they do is they use the latex paint and then they put a sheet of newspaper right on the paint and leave it like that. And once it dries, actually the newspaper seals it more than the paint, kind of a added insurance to seal it. The whole thing is you wanna seal the ends where it's gonna dry faster. Whatever you use, it doesn't matter. The cheapest, better.
We just lost our friends at Anchor Seal. They're gone.
It's gotten so expensive, it's ridiculous, to buy.
Eddie, can I just jump in on that one?
Say again, Mark.
Yeah, can I just jump in on that one? Because there's a lot of talk about people using anchor seals and various other things. Nobody's actually asked about this log. If this log is 2 foot wide, anchor sealing both ends, it's going to take him years to dry. The best thing to do, if it's a big log, is quarter saw it, get the thing cut into blanks ready, and then seal the ends of it. And if he's only making a mallet, he only wants a piece, a chunk out of a quarter sawn log that's about 4 inches. So really, if he gets it quarter sawn and he gets his blanks cut, then he seals the ends, or he even turns it and seals the ends, it will still hold out. But if you leave that pith in the middle, you're going to get cracking from the center.
Yes.
So really, the advice from my side listening to that is, what is the log that is in the garden that you're trying to turn into a mallet? Because it will be a long time if you just anchor seal the ends of it and it's the base of a trunk of a tree.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
just lost Anchor Seal as a sponsor now.
Oh, we don't have it. Hey, the beauty is we don't have any sponsors. We're only dating. We're not married to anybody.
And who is Anchor Seal? I only mentioned it because somebody else did. I don't even know who it is.
We had a guy in our club that would buy about 55-gallon drum, then part it down to 1-gallon bottles. And he had a hell of a time getting guys to bring a plastic bottle in when they got a bottle. And he was doing it for like 1/3 of the cost of what it cost if you had it shipped to you, plus shipping. but it was just, you know, I went to a club meeting one time and the guy had a bunch of pie pans, like saucers, and he had paint from his house. He just had his house painted, and he had them all blended into one color, and it was kind of ugly color. But as soon as they took wood off the trailer from the raffle, to dip the two ends and give it to him. And some folks said, I don't want it painted. They were missing how he was trying to save what was going on. Gerald Jensen says he uses PVA drywall primer, puts 2 coats on. It's about $10 a gallon at Home Center. And Ron says he paints his different colors so he knows what the wood is and it's color coded.
Yeah.
Brent, are you with us right now? You got a piece you say you want to show this evening. Can we find Brent and go to him?
Let me look him up.
I'm here.
There you go.
I wasn't expecting to be up so soon. Okay. I made a bucket, a juniper bucket here.
That's pretty.
I got a hole in
That's a gorgeous finish.
Right. I got a hole in the bucket here. But this is my first endeavor at hollowing anything and such. So it seemed to work out. I got about 3/16 inches thick on most ways. So it was a fun little project.
That's nice. You got to clean those windows across the room. They got, see the smudges on those windows?
Yeah. No,
That's gorgeous.
I made a big mistake on this though. I probably
What's that?
shouldn't do anything, but it might help some other folks if they ever did this. This is a lacquer finish on here. Had like 6 coats of lacquer or something. I was about to take it off the lathe. Well, I better put something on the inside before I take it off the lathe. And that was stupid. So I saw sitting over there was a bottle of OB Shine juice. I figured I'll just squirt a little bit of that in there, rub it around. All of a sudden I start hearing crick, crick, crack, 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 and all of a sudden bang! Just the lacquer blew up and such from the expansion of the wood in there. So I had to sand it all back down.
Wow.
And re-lacquer. So it was a learning experience. So I just thought I'd share that in case.
And it was a sharing experience. That's important. We've shared that.
Wow.
Brent, why did the lacquer expand? Why from the OB Shine juice?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the inside, I put the OB Shine on the inside, and I think it just being real thin. You know, this is 3/16 inches thin.
Yeah.
Absorbed it, and I think it just
Made the wood swell.
Did you get it hot when you put the OB Shine juice on? You didn't get it hot?
No.
Did you put friction on it? No.
No, just squirt some in there and use a foam brush, spread it around in there.
Maybe it reacted with the lacquer or something.
I wonder if there was a chemical reaction there.
I want to throw this one to Martin because I think you changed the molecular structure of that wood when you threw that stuff in there. Martin, what do you think?
Unfortunately, I had to open my door, so I missed a lot of that conversation. What have you put on the outside edge of that?
It's just lacquer. It's
lacquer on the outside edge. Was it dry when you turned it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Was it dry when you turned it?
Oh, dry as a bone. Yep. So, yeah, I think it was just expansion from the linseed oil soaking into the wood from the OB Shine.
Can I have a look at the bottom?
Bottom is not finished.
Right. I'd be surprised, Eddie.
What kind of wood is that?
Juniper.
Got gorgeous grain to it. It really does.
Beautiful grain.
It's gorgeous, for sure.
It's really, really, really old. It's been dead on the ground, I bet 50 to 100 years. I can just pick it up out here in the field all the time. But
Now-
it was probably killed in a range fire years and years and years ago. It's like, so I just go cut a chunk off of it.
Now, when it cracked, when the lacquer cracked, did it crack in a straight line? Did it crack like when you break a glass, or?
Right here, you can kind of see one a little bit. I sanded it down, but I couldn't get it sanded down all the way. It's like, so.
Is that the lacquer or the wood that cracked?
That's the lacquer. That is a lacquer crack.
Okay. Wow.
How many coats of lacquer did you put on that?
That was about, at the time it cracked, I think there was about 6. So I sanded it out and put another 6 on it, but it's still left some.
How is the inside where that crack is? Do you see anything on the inside?
No, I can't see
No.
anything except some tool marks. But
I mean, it's too perfectly straight. It almost looks like a wood crack there.
yeah, no, it's definitely because and after it went bang, you know, you could actually feel it in there and such.
Yeah.
You know, a few thousandths difference on the thing and such. So.
You know, from the way the crack shows, it almost looks, as you were saying, I think that you might have put a lot of that OB shine juice and it swelled the wood. And that's what made it crack.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen lacquer crack like that.
Well, I'm thinking maybe lacquer wasn't my best choice of finish on this and such, but I didn't really want to do any kind of friction or anything, because turning this with this this natural edge on here, that gets really difficult to finish and stuff. So I wanted some sort of spray on.
I think with some lacquers, you've got quite a hard finish. It's not that flexible. So if the wood is absorbing the oil from the shine juice and swelling, then the wood's moving, but the lacquer's not going with it. And that I think is probably why it's cracking, isn't it? So
the only answer, Paul, I've never ever seen lacquer crack, but I probably wouldn't have used the OB shine juice before I'd put the lacquer on, you see. I'd use the lacquer to almost seal the wood first and then start applying my coats. Cut that first layer back and then start applying my coats of lacquer that I wanted to finish it with. I've never ever seen lacquer crack like that, and not in a straight line.
Yeah, that's
but,
what
I mean,
like it's expanded. And
if you look at where it's cracked, it's following the usual pattern of the growth rings, isn't it? It's perpendicular to the growth rings pretty much. So it's your classical radial movement of a log along the growth rings.
Here's the growth rings. Here's the crack.
Yeah, no, it's top to bottom. It's almost like it's swelled out over and shrank back in over, Paul.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. You know, I don't think OB shine juice was probably the best choice on this, but it was sitting there handy. What the hey?
Now, did you saturate that when you put the OB shine juice? Did you saturate it on the inside?
Yeah, actually, out of a bottle, I was just squirting it in there and moving around with the foam brush.
I think that's what did it. The wood swelled on you when you did that.
Yeah.
I want to back up Martin's idea, sealing. Martin said sealing. I'm a great fan of sanding sealer on everything before I put a finish on it.
Exactly. That's what I do too.
Because I really believe that's the overcoat.
I mean,
I do the same thing.
The idea is to build up the layers, you see, and often the sand and sealer will be very compatible. So the sand and sealer will seal the pores, and then you can start applying the finish. The finish that I use, the lacquer that I use, is sufficiently thick enough to seal the pores in the first place. So all as I'm doing is like you would have done with that, is put the first coat of spray on. Some of that would have absorbed and gone into the timber. You'd then cut that back and you'd put your next coat of lacquer on. But if you're intending on putting 6 or 8 or 10 coats of lacquer onto it to give it that glossy shine, there was no need to put anything on there in the first place. Your first 2 or 3 coats would have built the layers up sufficiently for the finish. So
that's what I do usually.
Yeah. So next time, leave. I mean, there is this. A lot of people would say you can't apply any kind of wax before you put a lacquer on. The internet and various other woodworking communities say that yes, you can, but they're not really compatible with each other. You're better off staying away from them. You know, it's that cross-reference of trying to put too many finishes on.
I typically use a lot of de-wax shellac. I almost always put de-wax shellac on everything here at such. And I think in the future, my smartest move would be to, before I put anything on the outside, seal the inside, because then any expansion can't happen. I think that would probably be a smart move.
Get it finished.
So, anyhow,
Brent, thank you for sharing this evening, sir. Appreciate it.
It's
A
very
lot of
nice.
tips and hints flying around this evening. That's what we're all about. We're going to start our demonstration in a few moments. Oh, wait, Jeff, I just saw your note. Are you ready? Jeffrey?
Jeff,
Go.
you're up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go.
All right, guys. No, yeah, I'm trying to get this thing out of my face. Those
You're
days.
muted.
Okay. Hey, good evening, everybody. Big thing to see. Secure your load. You guys put stuff in the trucks, tie it down. Don't leave it blowing around, hurt or kill somebody. Bands on. Use clamps. Use jigs, especially for round stock. I've seen guys doing demos trying to cut down something round on a bandsaw.
Ooh.
Not a good thing. See other thing, people doing demos and stuff with their helmets or glasses, holding their tool, putting them on and off. Put your tools down before you go to put your face shields, your glasses on and off. All right, especially go to wipe your face. One job, you're gonna punch out an eye. If something doesn't sound, look, or feel right, stop immediately. Check it out, figure it out. Just don't keep moving on. Use your ears, use your sight. You're feeling something, stop, look. All right? You guys be safe. May the devil be with you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good seeing you, Jeff. Jeff's our safety director. We look at every week for a little share of knowledge from him. Jeff just said something about cutting rounds on your bandsaw. Before you cut something that's round, pass it through your bandsaw, think about what is happening with that bandsaw. Teeth are going down towards the table, and those teeth are hanging out like claws, and they're going to grab that round piece. What do you think that round piece is going to do?
Spin.
Really, you just hold it in your fingers, and you're going through something, and you don't have a muscle grip on it. You got your finger grip on it, and you pass it into that blade. It's going to spin, boys. It's going to spin. And when you do, you lose your fingerprints. I know about that. Somebody told me that happened.
Yeah, I made a little V sled, a little 90-degree V sled that I put pieces of wood in that dramatically reduces things rolling like that because it's held in the V.
I have a little 90-degree one. It's not a V, just an L that you can pass through. And it does the same thing. I mean, it's you got to take the roll out. We're going to go to a demo in a minute, but we have a minute.
I have something to show, Captain.
Pardon me?
I said, I have something to show. We have time.
All right, let's do that real quick before we go to Paul.
Okay. This is a bowl I turned, and believe it or not, this is the cheapest wood you can get. It's willow. And am I on? Yeah. It's willow, and what I did, I bleached it, and then I carved. I reduced the inside here to make it thinner, the outside and the inside, and then I pierced the inside here. And after I bleached it, and I put this, it's a Krylon 1311 because I didn't want too much shine on it. And it looks like a piece of marble. But the story behind this, I took this to Pittsburgh to the symposium, and how everything is sitting there on show and tell. And I went there and I see a red dot next to it. So I asked my friend, I said, what does that mean? He said, they're gonna critique it. I said, oh, shoot, here we go. So anyway, went to the room where they were gonna critique them, and they said, who made this? So I raised my hand, and they loved it. They said, the only thing, they loved everything, the form of everything, but they said, the only thing we would like is if it was a bit higher, this way. And I said, I would have, but that's the only height of the wood I had. That's what I had to work with. If the wood that I started with was higher, I would have made it higher, but that's the wood that I had. So, but yeah.
I think it's a gorgeous piece. I really do.
I think it's gorgeous too.
And I like the way you left those, I want to say legs, but spacers. Is that on thirds or fourths?
Yes. Yeah, they're third at every 120 degrees. And the
Yeah.
reason why I did that is because of this knot. There was that knot, and I knew if I try and carve through that knot, it's gonna blow. So I said,
It's a gorgeous
okay,
piece.
how can I incorporate it? And so I said, okay, I will leave a piece that's not pierced. And I went with three sides, and that's why I did that.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, I really love this piece because it just came together. It looks like a piece of marble. I think that bleached really helped. And as I said, this is the cheapest wood you can find, willow.
Willow.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Very
Alfred.
nice.
Appreciate you sharing this evening with us. We're going to go to Great Britain now and start our demonstration this evening. We've got Paul Hannaby with us. There we go. He's up on the spotlight right now. Good evening, Paul. How are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Good evening.
Evening all. Yeah, a couple of things. The plan is to continue where I left off with the thread chasing box. So I've got another one here. I finished that other one I showed you last week, but I've got another box here that's pretty much at the same stage with the thread cut, and we'll go on with that. Before I do that, there's something that came up last week, and I sort of thought about it a bit, and just wanted to bring something else up. So I'll just switch my cameras here. Looking at chucks and chuck jaws, and one thing I sort of noted at one point, there was a chuck with the jaws really open wide, and I'm just sort of trying to describe what the problem there is, the way I see it. That ring there, imagine that's a recess in the bottom of your blank, or a faceplate ring even, or something like that. If you've got these jaws open as far as they are, they're going to touch just the center of each jaw. If I hold that out, you can probably see the jaws touching in the middle, but it's not touching at each end. So I've reduced the contact.
Paul, may I throw this in there? New turners, novice turners, beginning turners, pay attention to this. This is a lifesaver.
Yeah. So what we've effectively got here is that jaw, instead of touching all the way across its surface, it's just touching at one point in the middle. So you've probably reduced the contact area to about a third or less than what it could have been. But in comparison, that set of jaws, same size ring, it's almost an exact fit on that diameter. So those jaws are going to touch almost across the whole width of that surface. So you've got maximum contact, maximum grip. So the point I'm sort of making here is you either size the ring to the jaws, in which case, let's say I wind that one down. So I either size my recess or spigot to fit the jaws at that point, or if I really want a hole that big, I find a set of jaws to fit it. So I'm maximizing the grip by sort of marrying the jaws and the hole to be that good fit. So I mean, I appreciate everybody's got a limited number of set of jaws, but if you've actually got the jaws and you're going to create either the spigot or the recess, then make that fit the jaws you've got, rather than thinking I'll open them up all the way, because you're reducing grip. And if you're reducing grip and you get a catch, then there's less holding the wood in the chuck, and a bigger chance that piece of wood is going to let loose and come in your direction. So it always pays to use the right set of jaws for the right job.
I tell folks to make a jig the size, the mortise and the tenon, the spigot and the tenon, so you know how big to make it before when you get started. Because if you guess at it and get it wrong, it's much harder to put it back on and take it off. But if you use a jig, you don't have to guess at it.
Yep, you got it. I'm Let me just think what jaws I'm going to use for this. I've got a spigot already cut on each end of this box. So I'm just thinking, do I want to use that one, or I've got another set of jaws about the same size with more access. So I might just use that one instead. Yeah, we'll do that.
Also, going along with having the properly sized jaws with your spigot or your recess, you don't have to crank down on your chucks to make it hold the piece. You don't have to use as much pressure if you've got full contact going all the way around.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So what I've got at the moment is the base of the box, the sort of the opening there in the jaws, and this will be the lid. So step one here is aligning the grain. I've cut the thread, but where this grain actually aligns is about where it is now. You see that darker area of wood, and somewhere here there's a couple of other marks. The grain alignment isn't going to be perfect because at the end of the day I've removed a piece of wood from between these two when I parted it off. So it's not, you don't always get perfect alignment, but I put a pencil mark there, and at that point I've got grain alignment. But if I tighten this up, I'm a quarter of a turn out. So what I need to do is remove a bit of wood from this face to allow the lid to rotate further to come back round to the point where I've got that alignment. And where it is, let's say we're a quarter of a turn off, I've got a 16 teeth per inch thread here. So one turn of a 16 teeth per inch thread is a 16th of an inch. So I need to remove about 3/4 of the 16th of an inch. So
well, not too much math. You're making my head hurt.
Yep. I'm trying just to put it in simple terms, but yeah, it's
3/64, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're down to sort of 30 seconds and 64ths. But yeah, I tend to work in millimeters when I get to that scale. So a 16th of an inch is about 1.5 millimeters. So if I aim to remove a millimeter, I'm not going to be far out. But the idea is to sort of creep up on it rather than take it all off in one shot. So I'm just going to use a scraper to cut the face of the box away. Could do it with the gauge actually, either would work. But if I just take a cut, just take a small cut there, and then we'll see how far we've got away now. So now those two lines are a little bit farther apart, so I've only taken a fraction off of what I needed to. So I've still got sort of 2/3 of a turn to go. So it's a bit more than that. I might actually just use a square scraper, then I'll keep the top of my box flat. I think that one actually needs sharpening, so we're not going to use that one. I'll sharpen that one in a second. So I'll go back to my round scraper and just do it with that.
Notice the fuzz, folks. Notice the fuzz.
Hey, Paul, is that basically a coving tool, the one you're just using there?
Sorry, say that again, Matt?
Is that basically a coving tool to make coves with?
It's a half round scraper.
Gotcha,
it used to be something else, but it's a round bar tool, and it used to be, I think it was called a quadrant tool, where it was just cut at an angle on the end. But I reground it to, what I've done is ground it so I've got half a thickness at the end. I sort of modelled it on a drill, like a D-bit, whatever they call it, or sort of a fluteless drill, if you want to call it that. So this will actually drill, because it's that cutting edge is exactly on the centre. So that was part of my intention, but also it's just a half round scraper, and because it's a round bar, I can actually angle that anywhere I want on the rest, and I find it quite a nice tool for hollowing.
Thank you.
So when I'm making goblets and boxes and things like that,
Sorry
It's
for
quite
the
a handy
distraction.
tool. So that's my pencil line there, and I've now got just over halfway. I've got just over a third of a turn left to go, so a little bit more to come off. But yeah, occasionally I decide that there's a tool I want, and if I've got something else that fits the bill in terms of the actual hardware I've got, but the wrong sort of grind on it, I might just regrind it. And this was one of those. I think I saw it for sale at my club. Somebody else was selling it. We had a tool sale or something like that, and I saw it and thought, yeah, I've got a use for that. And I just saw it as a blank. So you can see I'm approaching the right sort of area now. I've got, let's say, a quarter of a turn left. So from this point, I'm just going to take it easy.
If you rush this, you will not like the results. So
yeah, you end up going past and having to do another whole turn, which is taking another 16th off. So getting a bit closer. And it's worth bearing in mind that you might want to leave enough wood to actually sand that to a finish. But where's my line gone? There it is. So I'm this far away now. So pretty close. Let's try that.
What Paul's showing you here with that scraper is why you never throw tools away. Even if they got that dumb looking grind on them that you got in the kit, don't throw them away.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a good sort of piece of metal there, so I'm getting a bit closer. Probably one more cut and then just sand it. On my line. So that's pretty close. Got within half an inch anyway. So before I take another cut, I'm just going to sand the end of that, and we'll do that and then try it again. So just in case there's any high spots that I haven't noticed or anything like that, it's always worth doing that. So you can see I'm almost there now. I'll probably leave it so it's just off. And then do a final fit right at the end, perhaps. So that's almost on the line. You see, I'm literally 1/8 of an inch between the two. So I'll stop at that point and probably do a final fit on that at the point when I need to. So I've got a solid top there, and the bottom of the box isn't fully hollowed either. It's just I've taken out enough wood really to make a thread. I mean, I could make a square bottom box, but my intention was to actually shape that and use a bit more of the depth of this. So I'll start off with the lid. I mean, I'll probably take most of this wood away. But what I'll do is just dome the end there a little, just to switch to that one. Just to make that a little bit more pleasing to the eye. Drop that rest of fraction. So I'm just going to use my spindle gauge and take a few cuts here, just to dish this on the bottom of the lid. This is end grain, so I'm actually cutting, technically I'm cutting against the grain here. So I'm breaking the rules slightly. But I've got I mean, this is boxwood, so it's a dense wood, and I can cut against the grain at this stage, knowing that I'm breaking the rules, but on the final cut, I can always switch that and cut the other way, so I can either continue with my gouge and just do a scraping cut from center to edge, just to get the clean cut at that point. Or I could have used a scraper to do that, either way, both work. So that's the inside of the lid done. And I'm just going to sand that. I can probably go straight in on about 320 grit on that, being boxwood and hopefully a clean cut. I'll just lightly sand that shoulder.
If you want to put some detail of scrolling on the inside, is now the time?
Sorry, what did you say, Eddie?
If you want to put some details or some scrolling.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, yeah. I mean sometimes I do. I'll use a 3-point tool or something like that, and just do a couple of rings in there. But while I'm here, I might as well do it.
3-point tool, you can make that can be made of any round stock tool that you've received that you don't use.
So this one here, I'm just going to put that into the lid there, and just incise a couple of lines, just a small detail. And I've already sanded to 400, so I'll just light pass over with a 400 again. And then that's the inside of the lid done. So just a little bit of wax on that. I'm not going to use any sort of sanding sealer on the inside of this box, just on the outside. So put some wax on that and just buff it. So that's the inside of the lid finished.
Oh.
And
boy, does that look good.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
pretty.
Yep, nice grain, nice finish.
And then I'll put the base back in.
What's that wood, Paul? That's amazing.
This is boxwood.
Boxwood, okay.
English boxwood.
English boxwood, yeah.
Can't get it over here.
You can, but if you can, I want to know where you get the money.
I've got a stack of it here. Not that I'm trying to rub it in or anything, but yeah, there's
There you go.
somebody
Offered to
gave
trade-
me a
offered
load
to-
of it
Offered
a
to
few
trade
years
Paul.
ago. Yep.
I got a pile of wood in my garage. I'll trade you for some.
So I'm just using this half-round scraper again to hollow out the bottom of this box, put a bit more shape into it. It's not going to be a terribly deep box. I mean, you saw the size of the piece I was working with, so it's not going to be huge, but I can certainly make a bit of a shape out of it. And if I want to sort of gauge the actual depth here, I've got a depth gauge here. I can set that to sort of the side of the box and allow enough at the bottom for the base of the box and lock it there, so I can put that inside the box, and that tells me I've got just over an eighth, nearly a quarter, somewhere between an eighth and a quarter to go in the middle. So at the moment I'm just doing a cut that's sort of from the bottom out to the edge. So cutting centre to edge here, just to roughly get the depth, and then I'll worry about the overall shape when I get there. So a little bit farther to go.
A few minutes ago, you used that 3-point tool and it was made out of round stock. John out of, John Straffalader, New Jersey, says he made his from an old screwdriver.
Yeah, you could, yeah. Just a tiny bit more to go, and then with a, yeah, I mean, all you need is a round stock that's decent steel, basically.
Just don't overheat it when you grind it, folks. Don't overheat it.
Right, so we got the depth there. That should do. I'll just put my depth gauge back on there and confirm that. Yeah, that's within a whisker of where it needs to be. So I'll just clean all this out. What I've got inside the box is more thread than I need in terms of the length, so I can actually shorten the thread. I've already done that with the lid. When I turn the lid, this thread was a lot longer because it's easier to turn a long thread than it is to turn a short one. So I allow a little bit of extra wood, turn the long thread, and then when I get it to fit, I take half of the thread off. So when I put the lid on the box, it's only 2 or 3 turns rather than sort of continuously winding to get the lid on, and you get bored by the time the lid's finished, fully fitted. So yeah, I'll shorten the thread, and on the inside, I know I've got more thread than I need, so I can take a little bit more of that away. But if I switch to the side view again, you can see the centre's hollowed. So I've got a step out here because all I was trying to do was take the bulk out of the centre there. So I can continue with my scraper to take a bit more of this wood out. What I also want to do is to, as I said, I can shorten that thread a little, and while I'm doing it, blend the side of the box beneath the thread into the threaded area as well. And I could do that one of 2 ways really. One is to use that recess tool that I showed you before. Let me just find it. In this box somewhere. There's 2. Must be that one. There it is. I know I've got it somewhere. So there's the recess tool with that L-shaped cutting edge. So I'll go to the overhead camera. So I would put that in, put it into the box, and then pull it sideways to cut on the side of the box. So shorten the thread that way. The other way is just to use something like a small hollowing tool. We've got one of them somewhere. If I find it, there it is. So I could use something like this, a little swan neck hollowing tool, and use that to do a similar job. And the advantage of the hollowing tool is it's got a curved edge one, whereas this is a square edge. So I'd need to probably shape it a little bit and refine it if I use the recess tool. So I'll probably just do it with the small hollowing tool because it just allows me to get that undercut. And you notice I pulled the rest back, so the rest is on the straight part of the bar, not on the swan neck, because if you put it on the swan neck, when that touches the wood, it'll tend to twist, and it's difficult to control. So you want to keep the tool on that straight section. This is only a small tool, so that's only, well, probably 3 inches in length, so not a great deal, but it's enough. So I'm just sorting out my sort of blend between the wall of the box and the bottom of the thread, and I'll just clear all that out so I can see what I'm doing. And then now I'm going to just cut away. I need to switch cameras, don't I? Let's see what I'm doing there. It's better. And then I'm going to cut away the bottom end of the thread, just shorten the thread.
Now, after the fitting you started out with doing this inside thread slicing does not change the fit for the box.
That's nearly there. I've just got a corner where the wall beneath the thread meets the sort of the sweep up from the bottom, so that just needs the shape improving a little. I'm cutting just above center with this, and I'm actually angling the tool slightly downwards. I'm not holding that perfectly horizontal. I'm rotating that slightly so it's angling downwards and just making it slightly less aggressive. But I've got the ability there to rotate the tool clockwise or anti-clockwise, and if I rotate it clockwise it brings the tip up and slightly more aggressive, and if I want less of a cut I could turn it the other way, turn it anti-clockwise and just make it more of a trailing cut, so I can use that to my advantage to get where I want to be. So that's got rid of the shoulder there, and it's not too bad. I'm just going to switch back to that half round scraper and just blend the bottom slightly better. That's better. So that's the inside of the base done. And again, I can put some wax on that and finish it. I'll leave it as it is for the moment. I'll wax it in a minute. But what I want to do now is to put the lid on and finish the lid. So see there, I'm pretty much on that alignment now. Oddly enough, even though I've not taken any cuts from where I had it there, it's now going as far as the join. Just the other work I'm doing on it is just relax the wood a bit, I think, and it's allowed it to turn just a little bit farther. Right, so I'm going to turn half of this lid away. I'm probably slightly high with the rest, so just adjust that. And at this point I'm losing the spigot on the lid.
Very nice slicing cuts.
So I'm just going to move my rest in a little more. It's at this point you find out whether you've got a good thread or not. Because if you don't, you'll tear it out. what I'm aiming for here is to make the lid and the base better proportions. It was, well, where I started from, it was roughly 50-50, but I'm going for that sort of more aesthetically pleasing ratio of about sort of 2/3, 1/3, or 3 to 5, sort of the golden mean, or somewhere around there. Generally that works better, and so you can see there I've got almost 1/3, 2/3 there, so I'm not far away. Bring that rest in a little. I mean, at this point I could shape the box in one of a number of ways. But I'm just going to go for a fairly simple curve like I did on the box I showed the other day. So that's probably enough of a curve. What I want is a continuous curve. I don't want any flats, I don't want any bump in the middle. Just a nice continuous curve. And I think there's a slight bump in the middle of that, so I'm just looking at where I need to get rid of that. Feels reasonable. You get to that, what I call sort of the diminishing returns. You can mess around with the shape and refine it, but you reach a point where all it would take is 10 seconds with a piece of abrasive. So at that point, you're probably faster finishing it with abrasive than you are trying to finish it with the tool. But that shape is okay, I think. So I'll get my rest in position. I'm fairly close to the chuck here, so make sure that's secure before I do anything else. And then for the lid,
can we switch cameras?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For the lid, I'll just true that out because it probably was running off just a fraction. So I'm truing it out all the way across that join. And then I'll start turning it in on the bottom half. I'm not going to be able to go as far in as I want here because of the size of the spigot. But one thing I always try and impress on people is whatever the size of your chuck jaws and the size of your spigot, don't let that govern the shape you're trying to produce. You produce the shape you want and the proportions you want, and don't let the chuck dictate. Just figure out another way of getting the shape you need and the size you need. So I'll go as far as I can here, and then I'll come at it from another angle, from another direction. So I'll get the size I want. So shape-wise, that's the start of it. I've obviously got this bottom part to work on, but for the top half at least, that's the shape I'm after. I've got a clean cut across the join there and 2/3 of the way down the actual box. What I can do now is finish this. One tip here, you see when that was screwed up, you see the join. You're always going to see the join. And over time the wood might move slightly and it might feel a little bit raised at one point or another. So that's never going to be an invisible join. So I'm not going to try and hide it. I'm going to just make a feature of it. So just using my narrow parting tool, This is about a sort of 2mm parting tool, 1/16 of an inch, just over. And I'm just going to use about 1/3 of that. I'll just do a very small parting cut, just there, right on the edge of that shoulder. So now when I put the lid on, that join is obvious, and it will always be obvious, but rather than hiding it, I'm making a feature of it. It's part of the design now. It's intended to be visible, so you know it's a box, you know where it separates. So that I think makes it sort of a tidier job of it than trying to hide the join, which you're never going to achieve. So
Hey, Paul, I got a question. Do you taper the two sides, you know, the top and the bottom? Do you taper them towards the inside so that only the outside touches, or do you leave them parallel?
I've left them pretty much flat. Yeah. So the surface here. Are you meaning the shoulders here?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much flat. Yeah.
Okay.
So now what I can do is finish that lid. Again, if I've done a good job there, I should be able to start off with a fairly fine grit. We'll go for 240. And I'll just try and finish the lid. I'm not too worried about the base at the moment, but I'll sort of half sand the base and finish the lid. I can feel a little bit of heat there, so I'm just dropping the speed down so I don't put too much heat into the wood. I don't want to cause any of those heat checks. Dense woods tend to be susceptible to that, so it pays not to put too much heat into it when you're sanding. So that's 240 onto 320.
Now, this is demonstration technique. Picture in a picture.
Yep. I think I need to set up a couple more of those on my shortcuts, but at times it comes in useful. Right, that feels good. And then once more with 400. I'll just dust that away with the brush. And on the outside, I can use a sealer or a lacquer. Either would work. I'll worry about finishing the actual base, but I mean, got a couple of options. I can either use a sanding sealer. I mean, it could be any one of a number of sanding sealers, or I can wipe on some melamine lacquer as a base. I'm not aiming for a glassy shine on the outside of this. Try and get the lid off my melamine lacquer. It's fused to the tin.
For those just joining us, this is Paul Hannaby. Paul Hannaby is one of our Great Britain turners, international demonstrator. And along with like the rest of our demonstrators, they do this at no cost to the membership. And we invite you to be a demonstrator. If you choose to do so, contact us at our website or at our email address, which is worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. And we'd like to hear from you. So when you set up, remember, everybody is welcome because it's everybody's club.
There's a tip for you. Small set of jaws. Loosen the lid on my tin.
Without tearing it all up.
Expensive pliers.
Yeah, I know where the pliers are, and that was nearer and quicker.
There's an excuse to buy another chuck for those of us that need an excuse.
Or yeah, I'm running out of excuses. So I'm just wiping on a coat of melamine lacquer.
Can you explain exactly what that is? I don't know exactly. I've never heard of melamine lacquer before. Can you explain that?
See that one? It's a synthetic lacquer, isn't it? It's a plastic based lacquer, but it's quite a hard wearing one. I mean, melamine is used on sort of worktops and all sorts of things like that, and it is quite a durable finish.
Okay, folks, let's see it in the chat tonight. Where can we get it?
Yeah.
I mean, this one's a chestnut one, so if you know a chestnut supplier, then that would work. But there are other brands of melamine lacquer out there, so just look for the melamine. But it dries within seconds, so it's pretty fast. I'm just burnishing that and buffing it. That feels good.
Jeff Hornung of the walnutlog.com is a chestnut supplier, but I see that Craft Supply also carries it. I'm gonna put a link in the chat.
Folks, that's what it's there for. The chat's open and free.
So I'm just putting some Renaissance wax on that.
What do you think of that finish on wig stands?
Pardon?
My question is, what do you think that finish would be like on wig stands? Would that be the
melamine? Yeah, it's a durable finish. So once it's on, it'll stay put.
Yes. Sounds like that might be a good thing to put on the wig stand.
Yeah, I mean, it's in that league of sort of lacquers and varnishes. So and most of those are moderately durable, aren't they? So, but yeah, it is. So there's the lid.
Nice, very nice.
Got a nice bit of colour in the boxwood as well. So that's
okay. Notice that when he sliced it, there's no divots, no razors, because they attract light. So the thing looks smooth as what they call a baby butt going across it, which is nice.
Yep. So the inside of the box, I'm just going to sand that very lightly. I think it's not far out actually. It's pretty good. So I'll go straight in with a 320. And I've got a 2-inch abrasive here, so I'm just going to fold that in half. And then just put my finger behind it and sand the inside of the box. I've got to make sure I don't over sand the thread. I don't want to affect the thread in any way. So just sand the box interior up to the bottom of the thread, across the bottom of the box. That's all I'm trying to do there. Just blow that dust out. And again, put a bit of wax in there. I'm just putting this on with my finger. It's quick and easy. And find myself, there it is. Find myself a toothbrush, a little bit of wax on the brush, and just put a bit of wax in the thread. That helps the box to sort of go on, the lid to go on easy. It feels a fairly sort of smooth thread on this already, but it pays to put a little bit of lubrication on the thread anyway. But just a very light touch, and if you think you've got more wax on there than you need, and this is just a shoe brush, so I can just put that in there and run that across the thread to take out any surplus wax if there is any. Or if you had another toothbrush, that's another way. You can take out the surplus wax with another little brush which hasn't got the wax on it. So that's the sort of the inside done. I've now got to finish the outside, the rest of this. So I need to make that this way round to do it. If I put that in the jaws, obviously I'm going to damage it. So I want another way of working here. So what I'm going to do, get this one off. I'm going to make myself a jam chuck.
While Paul's changing chucks, we got an offer for our demonstration from Mike Keba. He says he'll show the membership how to turn a $100 piece of wood into combustible sawdust.
We'll go to that later tonight.
Yeah, well, that $100 piece of wood, what's that, scrap?
Latest price of 2x4s.
I actually got a real
That's
good deal
about
on
right.
walnut the other day.
Right, so I've got a piece of scrap wood in here. And all I need to do is turn myself a suitable spigot. This was the jam chuck I used on that last box, which is actually slightly bigger, so I can use that same spigot and reduce it in size a little. So I'm just using my calipers here to estimate the diameter of my spigot that I need to start the thread with. About there will do. So here's my parting tool. Take this thread away.
Those that may have stepped away, he's not removing thread on a current box. He's taking a piece of what might be called scrap wood in the shop and making a jam chuck out of it.
Jam chuck material.
Okay, we can't call it scrap. Kim will beat us all up. We call it scrap.
No, sir.
I'm looking
so
for
I'm just
a rod.
making myself a long enough spigot there to enable me to turn the thread or to cut a thread. So diameter wise I'm there. I'm just radiusing that front corner to help me to strike the thread, and then I'll just move the rest out a little and drop the speed. I want to be at about 400 RPM or 450 thereabouts. Got my thread chaser here. And I'll start striking the thread on that corner. Once the thread is struck, the tool will feed itself like that. See that? I'm not pushing the tool, it's following itself in that groove that it's just cut. So the thread is struck, and all I need to do now is bring it round.
On that very smooth tool rest. No dings, no nicks, no bumps.
I mean, this one's not perfect, but it's okay. It slides easy. If I got lots of notches and nicks in it, it would stop this tool sliding, and that would potentially affect the thread. It would cause the sort of the movement of the tool to stop and start, and you get what they call a drunken thread with sort of varying pitch in a way, and that becomes very difficult to work with. Right, so I'm down to diameter. That thread's actually got a slight taper on it, but that doesn't matter at this stage. I'm still oversized there, so I need to size that to fit. So what I'll do, take the speed back up, come in with my parting tool, could do it with a gouge or a scraper, anything really, and I'll take half the thread away, bring my speed down, back to 400 RPM or so. Oh. And what I'm trying to do now is cut this to full depth again.
The half depth of threads he left, that's remaining will guide his threader back into line again.
I haven't cut a recess. I should really, at the left-hand edge of this thread, I should cut a recess where it comes up to that shoulder, but I haven't, as it's only a a jam chuck, I didn't bother. So that's almost going on. So I'm nearly there. So again, take half of that away. Back down with the speed. Yeah, what I mean by the recess or the run out is you take a parting tool and you cut right in there, so you don't end up with a partly formed thread at the shoulder, because as you approach that shoulder, you've got to withdraw the tool. So it's almost impossible to cut right up to the shoulder. And I was getting pretty close there, but no matter how good you are, you aren't going to get it quite perfect. But cutting that little run out, recess, whatever you want to call it, means the thread stops before you get to the shoulder. So again, we try this on for size. It's going on, but it's just a little bit on the tight side. So just take a bit off the top, speed back down. This is a good way to practice threads if you're doing threads, and the more you do, the better, really. So just making your jam chuck with a thread, it might seem a little bit excessive, but it's good practice. Let's see where we are with that.
There you go.
The thread's too long, but we're actually on and sort of heading the right way there. So I think what I can do is just shorten it. Yeah, it gets to there and then goes tight. So what if I lose a little bit of that thread? I think there's actually a slight taper on that, so that's probably why it's tightening as it's getting near the top. So I'll just, while I've still got the full length of thread to work with, I'll just try and take a little bit more away at the top end of the thread. See how we get on there. It's still getting to the point where it's binding at that point, so hopefully if I shorten the thread it will go up. What I'm aiming to do is get that shoulder up to the other shoulder, and then I've got good support to finish my turning. So I'll turn away part of the thread. I don't need to worry about taking all of that away. I just need enough room to get the thread all the way up. And I'm just chamfering that front edge of the thread as well. Might help it go on. So let's go with that. So now we're up to the shoulder. So jam chuck's sort of doing its job now. It's got it where it wants to be. And we can work on turning the rest of the box. If you've got any doubts about the sort of the security of that fit, bring your tailstock up and you can sort of adopt the belt and braces method there, can't you? So no danger of it flying off. And I'll just not take too heavy cut. Keep the cuts moderately light. Remove all this surplus wood. So here you can see what I mean about not letting the chuck jaws or the mount that I've got constrain my shape and my size. I can make the foot now any size I want. I've got nothing in my way. So it's down to me and my what's in my head really, but my design to make that foot the size I want it to be. I've seen sort of people in the past where they've created a box or a bowl or a piece of turned work, and the shape just doesn't work. And you look at it and sort of analysing it, thinking, why doesn't it work? And what's sort of behind it is that they've used a big set of jaws, or a bigger set of jaws than they should have for that shape. And at the end of the day, that's what's caused the problem. They've been restricted by the jaws, were unable to make the foot small enough to get a good shape. And there's a guy I used to see at exhibitions quite regularly. He was a good turner, and he used to finish his work extremely well. But the shapes just didn't do it for me, and I used to look at what he got on his display, and almost everything had a 4-inch foot on it. And I sort of suddenly realised, whoop, got a bit of a catch there. I suddenly realised why everything had a 4-inch foot, and I thought it's just, he's used the same set of jaws for all of these. Instead of switching to a better sized set of jaws, he's done the whole lot with one set of jaws. And I'm sure he had more sets of jaws, so I can only assume he just couldn't be bothered to change it. I'm just going to put a straight edge across the bottom of that, see if it's flat, and it's just need to take another cut. I want that just flat on whatever you put it on then. But yeah, I mean, I think had he used a better choice for the set of jaws, his work would have improved immensely.
That leads back to what you started off with. Sometimes folks don't know how to use the jaws.
Right, so that's the cut done. I just need to finish that shape-wise. What we got there? That's a 180. I'm just going to sand that with a 180 to start with. Where I've mounted this on that screw chuck, jam chuck, whatever you want to call it, it's not quite running true. So the cuts I've made here are not quite concentric to the original shape. So I'm just blending over that transition to make it a smooth edge. It's only sort of a fraction out, so it will be imperceptible once this is off the lathe, but it's enough that if I made a cut from each side and didn't blend them, you would feel the step. So I wouldn't want to leave it like that. And then we can sand down through the grits as before. 240. I've got my speed again. I just remembered I don't want to put too much heat into this. 320. If I need to sand all the way up to the top, right up to the top edge here, what I can do is remove that. Come in here with my parting tool and just reduce the height of that shoulder. So now the shoulder is smaller than the top of the box, so I can sand that all the way up to the top now and do whatever I need to do with finishes, etc. So last go with a 400 grit.
Turners, pay attention that even at 400 grit, he's generating sawdust or grit dust. if you're not, you're polishing, you're not sanding.
Yeah, if you're not getting any dust coming off, then it's sort of question whether the abrasive is actually cutting.
Yep.
It kind of means you've used it too long at that point.
Exactly.
Or you spun it.
Or try to get more cut than was necessary and you overloaded it.
Right, so I'm just going to come in with my 3-point tool again and echo that detail I did under the lid on the bottom. So just a couple of lines there. And as before, I just touch that with a 400 grit just to take off any burrs that might be there. So now I want to use my melamine again.
And that product is in the chat, folks, where you can get it from. Sawmill Creek is one. Sawmill Creek is one of them.
Yep.
Well, that's
if I put that on,
that's a how-to site.
If I put that on and wait, that's now touch dry. That's how fast it dries. So I can actually build up as many coats as I want. If you put enough on, you will end up with a deep shine. It's like any other lacquer. You put enough on, you'll get a good shine. I tend to just two or three coats. I want to seal. It gives me that sort of durable finish because it's quite hard wearing lacquer. But I don't often go for a high shine on things, or at least not on things like this. I quite like the wood just to look. It's got almost like it's not finished, if you see what I mean. Just a sheen rather than a high gloss.
Well,
So
boxwood cuts like plastic. It'll have a great sheen when you sand it out. That's why Dane's going to buy some from you and share it with us.
And
just
I mean, if you want to cut that back with 4-0 as well, or something else, then you can. I mean, that's a 4-0 as well. I could whiz over with that and then put wax on it. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, with a wood like boxwood, I'm not sure you need to do a lot of cutting back anyway.
Wait, I said it was Dane. No, it was Matt Harbour was going to buy some to share.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes a long way. But my wife does enamel, and she's got her own workshop as well. And I made a workbench for her with shelves under it and stuff like that. And the top shelf I painted with melamine lacquer. It was like wood kitchen worktops, like block sort of form beach, and I made these benches, and the top just coats of melamine lacquer. I mean, she's probably abusing it and giving it quite a hard life because she's working with powdered glass, and effectively that's an abrasive, isn't it? So I thought, yeah, I'll use the melamine. That's quite a durable finish. So seems to be standing up to the wear. So I'm just buffing that with a piece of, this is what they call safety cloth. It's paper based, it's not woven, so if it catches, it tears. So safer than a woven cloth. So unscrew that off there. So that's the finished box, and there you see there the grain alignment is pretty well worked out, and you've got sort of feature there that looks about right. So I think the grain alignment is sort of worked out. I mean, there's a line there that's actually spot on. In different areas, it might look like it needs to be one way or another, but yeah.
Look at the finish. That's a gorgeous finish, Paul.
Take that as a finished piece, and you see the bottom there. I just got that slight detail there. I mean, you could, if you do that on the bottom of other pieces, you can actually use it as a couple of lines to sign your name between and things like that. So if you're into putting your name on your work, then which you should do. But that's it. All done.
Only thing missing is the price tag, Paul.
Yep. Absolutely.
Nice job. Nice job.
Very
I'm
nice.
I'm a real
really
fan.
like that.
I'm a real fan of doing 2 lines instead of 3, because if you do 3 lines, it's really hard to get the distance between them even, but 2 lines,
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah, I mean, they always say groups of 3 work, but I treat it as you've got the three groups, you've got 2 lines, but they're actually creating 3 areas. So that's sort of my way of looking at it. But put that on there, and that thread, if I spin that, closes up. So that's a pretty good fit on the thread, I would say.
Yep.
Yep, that's nice.
Very nice. I like that.
My manager saw that and she said, you know, it'd be really nice to put diamond earrings in.
Yeah, I'll give you a address and I'll put it in the post for you, Eddie.
She doesn't want the box. I think she wants the earrings.
Oh, right.
Subtle hint there, Eddie.
Yeah, I know. I'm slow though. I won't catch on. That is a great demo, and I see Doug Rowe joined us from Arizona this evening, and a little bit late, but we're in. Paul, I want to thank you so much. This was a very fascinating and great demonstration.
Okay.
Folks, I don't know if you're just joining us, but Paul is doing this for us. It is at no cost to the club. He's professional at this, and what we saw tonight was, let me just recap some things. We used a good product, okay, the boxwood. We had a design that was 1/3, 2/3 to split the top and the base. A hand chased. See that design looks much better than being half and half, or a Liberty cap on it. That's the 1/3, 2/3.
Yeah.
Hand threads on both the inside and the outside. He cored it and hollowed it, but I want new turners pay attention. He did not use a gouge to go inside and clean this piece up. He used a scraper and cleaned it up on the inside. A good finish. He could start sanding at 220. That's the kind of finish he had. And then he added some accents with shop-made accent tools, a 3-corner tool. So all in all, and we learned a new finish. We learned a new over finish. So all in all, we had like 10 different items that you can work with on any project. Paul shared that with you tonight. Paul, again, I thank you on behalf of the entire club. This is what it's all about. Thank you.
Just probably worth a mention that the first half of this demo happened 2 weeks ago. So that recording should be on the website. So the start of the box was a demo 2 weeks ago, but I put too much in and it overran somewhat. So we sort of stopped at the point where this one picked up. So if you want to see the start, it was a different piece of wood, but you'd see the sort of the beginning stage, and this is the sort of the finishing stage, the shaping part of it. So most of that first demo was about making the thread.
And it was very well done. But our webmaster's slacking off a little bit. It might be there, might not be there, you know. It's probably
one more thing
probably
before you go.
Finish.
Yeah, I'll just show you that one. I did a demo last night on goblets, and I made that. That's also boxwood.
That's pretty.
So it was at the top. It was splitting out into 2 branches. So where that fork was, I did the cup, and that's why you've got the sort of the void down the side. So just a demo piece I did last night.
Wow, that is one beautiful
But again,
piece.
a nice piece of boxwood with some sort of colour and spalting in it.
Did you
So
do
there's
it
a question.
at the UK club?
I have a question about the finish.
No, that was a US club.
How do you compare the melamine lacquer with wipe on poly? What's the difference?
I don't use wipe on poly. I don't think it's, although yes, it exists over here. It's probably not as commonplace. So it's not one that I use. I use acrylic lacquer. I mean, if I'm doing coloured pieces, I tend to use spray acrylic lacquer on those. A lot of my colours are acrylic colours, so it makes sense to stick with the acrylic. And if I'm using acrylic base and acrylic colours, using acrylic lacquer with those. So so yeah, wipe on poly isn't one I generally use, but so I couldn't really say how it compared to the melamine, but I know sort of from what it says on the tin and sort of what I've sort of looked into with the melamine, it is regarded as a hard wearing finish, and although it's dry within seconds, or if you brush it on and put a thick coat on, yeah, it's going to be minutes, but still a fairly fast drying finish. It hardens over the next 3 weeks or so. It takes roughly 21 days to fully cure and harden. So although it's dry pretty quick, then it gradually sort of polymerizes and reaches its full hardness after about 3 weeks. So so it does become quite a durable finish.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And again, Paul, great information tonight. I just got fussed at by the webmaster. He said the one you did earlier has been on our website, and wait 5 minutes, this one will be on the website.
Great. Good.
Eddie,
So we've got part 1 and part 2. So ideal.
Eddie,
Yes, sir. Ronnie, go ahead, please.
I'm looking on Craft Supply right now, and melamine lacquer. It's they have some made by Mylans.
Yeah, that's another UK manufacturer, but yeah, it'll be a similar stuff.
And
The link is in the chat.
$29.95.
Yeah.
Links in the chat.
This one here, I got it wrong. It's not 21 days, it's 28 days for maximum durability. And this one also said it's toy safe. I mean, here we have what's called an EN71 standard. It's a European standard for finishes on toys. And that's, I think the test is that the finish doesn't have any heavy metals or other toxic substances in it. So if a child picks that up and puts it in their mouth, they won't come to any harm. And this finish is of that standard. Just another snippet of information there that might be useful to someone.
Some folks get confused about drying and curing. They'll call me up, is that food safe?
Yeah.
In the USA, by law, most finishes will have to be contact safe in 3 days. It's not cured, it's just contact safe.
Yeah.
So as earlier we saw it with Brent, he put a finish on the outside of a piece, and then he put finish on the inside. And because the outside was probably not completely safe at the time, and he changed the structure of the inside, there was a failure. Give them time. Give the finish time. If you rush it, that's what you're going to get. I just got another note from Dave. He said, I quoted him wrong. It's 20 minutes before it's up there.
That's not bad. That's pretty good going.
All right. Thank you again, Paul. Appreciate the input tonight. We're gonna go to our gallery again in just a few minutes, but our gallery master, Dane Chandler, is offline. He's gonna restart because he lost his sound, and we'll get more. I got to remind folks, and we've asked a few questions tonight. I had comments regarding weight stands. We have a challenge to you, the membership, to create weight stands. Now, on our website, worldwidewoodturners.org, we have some dimensions, some guidelines of dimensions, and we have a ton of photographs of weight stands. And if you turn weight stands, I would like you to tell our webmaster, Dave Rhodes, what you have turned, how many. We'd like to have some kind of tracking on this, because our goal is to overload all those people that have them, need them, and want them, and then we'll have a backlog. And that's what we're looking to get to. We're not greedy. It's not a beat our chest thing or anything else. It's a mission, and we want to save people the grief, or we want to help them through trying times. So please, if you make a wig stand, we want to know about it. And send me a photograph to worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. That's our website. I'm sorry, email worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. You see, we're all over the place. And Dave says those demonstrations that he had posted are not only on our website, they're available on Wood Turning. Our YouTube channel is called Wood Turning. And all the stuff that he posts, the entire meeting, snippets of the meeting, excerpts with demonstration. All those details on our website. And I just heard from somebody about SWATturners.org. They are working out the details. They really are. They've gotten together and have talked about it. Now they got to finalize the meals and the spread and participation. But they're closer and closer and closer. And when they are there, I'll let you know. And just if anybody's passing through New Orleans and heading to SWAT, I've got 6 really nice new 2x4s. I'll trade you for a ride. They're really not, and they're ones from Lowe's with the blue stains on it and all. And if you'd like to be part of our team, ask, join. I can say this over and over again, beat the horse till it's dead. This is your wood turning club. We're only here to spread wood turning. No sponsors, no commitments, no obligations, except to you. And the only way we can meet that is to be part of you. Hi, Trey.
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. I wrote an article. It's on the website now. It's on running airlines in your shop, with the emphasis on making sure that you get rid of water out of the airline. So I'm just putting a pitch in for that. It's on the website, and it helps to remove water from your airlines to keep them out, keep it out of your, keep it off the end of the hose and in your tools. So
now, because Doug Rowe, who's with the Army, is looking, their pictures, drawings, Crayola, what, to show.
He wrote it in really slow words for me, Eddie. Real slow words. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be able to actually see his article put into practice.
Hey, folks, you're not. One thing about this club, you're not safe. I've been checking. I don't see Brenda in tonight, and I don't see Kim in tonight. So we know we got a couple. We got Paula. We have a few other folks, ladies, in tonight. Everybody's welcome. I got to ask you a question though. Where are your club members? Really? That's a question. Where are your club members? Not this club, the other club. The one you belong to at your place.
At least one of mine is in here tonight.
Yeah. Invite them. Make sure they know about it. They can afford it. Why? Ronnie, tell them why they can afford it. I thought Ronnie was still with us.
Yeah,
it's super expensive.
I'm here. Just got to unmute myself. This is the cheapest thing going. It don't get any more comfortable than this, because you're sitting your rear end in your own easy chair.
As Dane says, with your pants on.
Let's hope they have their pants on.
Problem with being in your own easy chairs, it's too easy to fall asleep.
We've seen that. We've seen a couple of blank faces.
And you never know about the pants.
No. Just make sure your webcam is pointed up high.
Hey, last week I was really rushed because we had a bunch of stuff from work going on. I'd really like to give Martin Clarkson some more credit for what he sent me. So if you guys were able to spotlight me, I'd like to show those again, because I kind of did it a little quick last week.
I think I have you spotlighted right now, but we'll go back to you again. Wait, we lost you. All right, let's see.
Here.
There you are.
Face. Never get tired of seeing that thing.
All right. Boy, that's your opinion.
All the way from across the pond, Martin sent me several of the slimline pens with a sheath with his card to give out, and they are beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Very nice.
I think Martin, I want to know, what in the world did you make that out of?
That's Corian.
Pure white. It is gorgeous.
It's white. It's white Corian.
White Corian. Okay. You guys probably can't see it on there, but he's even got the tiniest little details right in here. Give it a little extra grip while you're holding it. These things are are awesome, but cool. The pens are cool, but the pens can't compete with what he sent me, these keychains. Now, if you're an anti-gun person, this could be a trigger warning, no pun intended. Look at these keychains he made. Shotgun shells. I mean, I didn't measure them, but they look to be the right dimensions to me.
Hey, you know, those are shells left over from the Great War when we ran away from that country.
Uh-oh. No, but Martin, in all seriousness, man, these are gorgeous. I really appreciate it.
I sent them over, Eddie, because there is enough of your troops in our country looking after us as we've got in your country looking after you guys. So it was from us to you because we work so well together. I believe that your troops would appreciate some pens from the UK.
They absolutely will. Later on this month, we've actually got a big awards banquet going on. It's abbreviated the CASey, but it stands for the Civilian Soldier and Airman of the Year Award. So I'm going to have Army and Air Force people there that are winning various awards. And if you're okay with it, I would like to work your keychains into that to give to the various winners for things. And I will make that happen. But yeah, I felt like last week I jumped in, I jumped out, and I didn't give Martin the justice he deserved. Thank you again very, very much. We really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
You're very welcome.
What we do here, we share wood turning and make people welcome and do things for those who need it and deserve it. That's what our troops deserve. So, hey, folks, if you're missing this, and you're wondering what the pen thing is all about, if you're just joining us or if you've been around for a while and you are not really tired of me beating this horse, if you'd like to be part of our Freedom Pen Project, all you have to do is turn a pen. That's all you have to do. If you make it out of white corian, you make it out of boxwood, use up an old pallet, a piece of 2x4, whatever, turn the pen. Go to our website, and Doug's address, his mailing address where you're going to send it, is on our website. Send it right to Doug, and he will put it right in the hands of our troops, thanking them for what they do. And if you're not from the United States, I understand there's a program in Canada, there's a program in Australia, there's a program in Great Britain, and there's a program in South America, where you can give items to their troops that they would use as trinkets, gifts, thank yous. So you can do it in your neighborhood too. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate the input tonight, sir.
Thank you.
All right. And I think we can go back to Dane.
Yeah.
And Dane's probably got somebody for gallery tonight. Dane, I'm popping off the spotlight and you're up.
All righty. We got Doug Miller up.
Oh, look out. Hey, Doug, I saw your recent video that you put on YouTube, and I really do like it. That's a well done piece.
I gotta think which one you're talking about. The goblet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, and that one got a little exciting, didn't it?
It did. Well, we had a little fun with it, and you know that's important. We have a little fun with it.
That was kind of the point. Okay, for tonight, several years ago, my mother had shown me a magazine, just a page, Southern Living or something of that line. Anyway, on one of the pages, there was an advertisement for some bowls that were on a stand, had a ring, a metal ring with 3 lugs coming down, very simple stand, but then this bowl set down in it. And they were advertising it for some ugly price. It was silly kind of money. And she said, I bet you could make something like that. So I looked at the picture a bit and I thought, you know, if I apply the 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 kind of thing to that, I bet I can recreate that bowl. And even if I get somebody that does metal work, I can make the stand. So we've got the bowl here. This is it's a 6-inch diameter bowl, 2 inches tall. So we got the golden mean there. And that does not include this bottom rim here on the bottom. This is just the minimum diameter on the outside. So we've got the 1/3, 2/3 there. This is a piece of cherry. This tree was basically completely burled, and then lightning had hit it. So it had all kind of fun stuff going on. I was going to show this piece anyway. There's the bottom. It's just a nice flat bottom. I wanted to show this piece anyway tonight, but it really plays back into our earlier conversation about sealing that wood before the final finish. This was sealed with Seal-A-Cell, which is a polyurethane product, and then I finished it with the tag-along finish, Armor Seal. Both are general finishes. All that to say, a sanding sealer of some sort or a sealer to seal the wood first really helps to make that finish pop at the end. And this is like 3 coats, I think, of the Armor Seal, and it is hard. It's as shiny today as it was when I turned it, and it's been 14, 15 years since I finished that. I've not touched it since. It's been on display the entire time. That's one of those pieces management loves, and I couldn't sell that to save my life. She'd break my neck if I tried.
It's a beautiful piece. I love it.
That's gorgeous.
There you go. Now you can see that outside. It's
Well,
got all
this is
kind
the
of
thing about
characters.
sealers. I mean, there's a million finishes out there, but wood needs an overcoat before you put a sealer on. That's my opinion. It might be wrong, and there's some people who go against me, but I really do like to put a sealer before I go anywhere.
Seems to make a huge difference.
And you know what I learned in the cabinet making things, when to throw that sealer on there, you see the wood, you see the color, you see the character, you see lines and scratches and divots and everything else. And it's not too late to fix it.
Hey,
You
Doug.
can always go back.
Hey, Doug, you said
Yes.
something about a stand. Is there a stand that goes with this, or is that something additional?
That's a separate piece.
Okay.
We display this on a deep kind of a metal plate rack, sitting on top of one of those silly Amish fireplace things. But yeah, the stand that was in the picture was a simple ring with 3 legs so that it would sit vertically. You know, the ring actually sits right about here. This would sit down in it, just hanging, sitting on top of the ring.
Kind of like a brazier or something like that, huh? Okay, cool. I get it.
Sort of like a standalone chafing dish without a burner under it. You know?
Yeah,
Right. Yep. That's called a brazier, but okay.
Oh, it is?
I thought it was a brazier.
Maybe that's how you say it.
Hey, we just a family show. We can't talk about that. Thank you, Doug. It's a beautiful piece. Appreciate you sharing tonight.
Thank you all.
Very nice. Dane, who else we have up this evening?
We got Jason Collett.
Jason's with us.
Unmute. How's it going?
All right, sir. What's up?
You can actually hear me tonight.
Yes.
So I got a piece of ash that I had and turned a bowl.
Nice.
So,
Beautiful
had
piece of
some
wood.
Crazy
Gorgeous.
character here and there.
What's the finish?
Nice, great.
Perfect.
All right.
Getting it figured out, huh?
Yeah. So not too bad.
Good-looking bowl.
It's been that piece of wood has been sitting in my shop for almost a year. I just had it in a plastic bag. It was part of a stump somebody had cut off, and it was still really wet, so I ended up going thin with it.
Well, it came out really great. Thank you. All right. That's Jason out of Colorado with us. Dane's up again, and we got some pieces of show. Remember, if you want to show something, put it in chat. Dane will see it, and he'll spotlight you and bring it up. And right now, we're going to go to Dick's store. Dick, you're up, sir.
Thank you kindly. Guy gave me a couple of pieces of cedar, about 3.5 inches in diameter and about 8 or so inches long. And he said, make something out of that, you know, look, do what you can. I said, okay, how about this?
There you go.
Whoa.
That's nice.
I have a question though.
That's really nice.
Thank you. I really enjoyed doing it. Turns nice and so forth. But my question is, how do you make the arms round like the vertical? Because once I got the bandsaw to cut off the sides, sanding round on the arms was kind of strange to me. What's the real process for doing that? What do you use?
Well, when the ones I do, I don't make the cross piece round. I leave it square.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah. I thought you made them round. Okay, leave them square. Got the picture. And I had a couple of cookies of that same wood, about this thick. And I decided he needed something else to go with the cross, which was a goblet for the wine and a bottle stopper.
Test.
That's
All right,
sweet.
Matt, would that be called a chalice, Matt?
That's a neat idea.
I don't know, anything that holds liquid, I call a goblet. People call them chalices too, so more power to you.
Well, it was only this thick, so I had to have flat sides on it to get what I wanted in that profile. But both of these are just finished with so far with a couple of coats of sanding sealer. And I thought it was fun. I like
It's beautiful. I love the stand-up stopper. That's a good presentation piece with that.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose.
You know, one day we're going to throw a chat.
Whiskey. You got your stopper and your shot glass all in one.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day we're going to do a challenge for bottle stoppers because it's a fun little project. And if you can't afford those bottoms, you can do it with a stick and a cork, whatever. Remember, this is the thing you take with you when you go mooch and meal at somebody's house. You leave it behind so you don't feel too bad. All right, Dane, who's up?
All right, well, let's see. Let's go to Dean. Dean, go ahead and start talking. I'll pull you up.
Okay, I'll say something. Hello.
Hey, Dean.
You see me?
Hey, Dean.
Good deal.
Got to get you spotlighted.
Right here. There we go. Okay, so I've got a screwdriver I made. And that's with those, I don't use a $10 kit I order online or anything like that. I actually go down to the Home Depot, get me a 6-in-1 screwdriver. And if you make a cut in the side of the plastic piece, the part will come out. So then I turn a handle, epoxy it in, and you can have all kinds of screwdrivers.
They're beautiful, really nice.
Those are sweet.
If you look at Harbor Freight, you
nice.
get about the same thing for about 99 cents a piece when they're on sale.
Now,
So
I will tell you, I tried that.
they're not quite as good.
The quality of the hardware with Harbor Freight is horrible.
Yep.
So I would spend the extra $2.
Get a good one.
And get a good one. It's well worth the little extra investment.
We had a fellow at a club meeting do a demo, and he put a solder iron in that opening to melt the plastic away. I just did it with a big hammer, and it came off.
Well, I did. I put up I say I did. I'm in the process of editing a video that I'll be putting up on YouTube on doing that. But you're right. You can use a heat gun to heat it up. I just took one of those, what's reciprocating saws. Can't think of the name of it right now.
The one that goes side to side?
Yeah, the one that vibrates side to side. And I just stick it in there and it pops that right up out of there real quick.
Yep. It's a nice thing to play around with, and you're using up shop scraps. I know Kim will get mad at me if I call it shop scrap, but you're using up wood.
So something that size is a scrap?
That's
I thought
why I
that
can't
was good
say that.
stuff to save.
You get 10 or 12 of those, you can get an airplane ticket to Waco.
I was going to say, you keep offering those 2x4s for a trip to Waco, you may have people from all over the country coming in to take you up there.
Might have guys come walking by to carry my bags. You know,
I'm starting to be tempted now.
Exactly.
Wasn't a
Thank you,
3-day
Dean.
drive.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go back to Bob.
Who's that? Was that Bob Grinstead out of Texas?
Yes, Mansfield.
All right, hey guys. Mine muted yet? There we go. Just a walnut bowl.
Oh, pretty good.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Neat.
Yeah, if I can get this thing turned right. There you go.
That's pretty.
But it turned out pretty good, pretty nice.
Like you carved the legs in also.
Yeah, I carved the legs in. Yeah. There you go.
Nice detail work. Clean.
Is that some texturing on the rim too that I saw?
Yeah, I had some texturing on the rim.
That's beautiful.
I didn't want it to stand out too much. You know, most of them come back and line the texture, but I didn't want it to just pop. I just wanted it to be faintly there. But anyway, it turned out good. That was just sand and sealer and then a Caruba wax on top of that. So
That's nice.
I thought it turned out fine. I'm not sure how hard that Caruba wax is. You know, how durable the finish it is, but it looks pretty.
Polishes up well for a line because you don't really rub it off. You polish it.
Yeah, you're really good at polishing it. But
That
Thank
wax
you,
is
Bob. Beautiful, beautiful work. Appreciate it.
thanks.
I have to, Dane, while you take this off spotlight, I need to do something to maybe get a little forgiving here. When we talked about sealer, and I said there's so many versions, I'm not downing any finish that's out there. I'm really not saying you can't use one product and get everything else done or everything done. That if you use this sealer, you got to use this product. If you use this, you got to do that. There's just a pile of them out there. Don't limit yourself to one. And if it sounds awesome and easy to do, go there. But if you're just starting out and you're having some blotches or some problems or such, go down in the product. Go down to the basics and learn how to put a sealer on. Just understand what it's doing and how to learn how to put a finish on. Seal is just part of a finish. 3408 is part of a finish. Although it's a very one-coat finish, there are other versions and other ways of applying it that will work also. Randy Smith says he's not feeling well. He got a second COVID shot yesterday. Randy, it happens to all of us. It really does. It happens to everybody I know that got the 2-shot program. You'll feel better tomorrow, sir. You really will. Doug Rowe can fill some time with a shop date if you want.
Yeah, he's got a
Shop date.
Shop update. So let's go to Doug.
Oh, update. Oh, he skipped some words there.
I might want to take you for a date to the shop, Eddie.
That ain't going to happen in my life.
That's exactly where I was going with that. Me and Eddie in the shop. What a date that would be.
Hey,
Oh, the things he could teach me.
We could both wear wigs.
Okay, hold on. Let me get flipped around here. So, oh, there's my dog. Hey, Wilma. So here's kind of the good, bad news. The lathe doesn't turn on anymore because the power is in the process of being moved. Yay. Let me get on out of here. So the biggest update, and if you're friends with me on Facebook, you probably already saw it, is the insulation went in. But out here is where the outside unit to the HVAC is going to be hanging. So that's all in and caulked in now. And then we head on in. You can see all my walls are now foamed in. And we just passed that inspection today, so I should be getting sheetrock next week. A bunch of you were after me to get extra outlets put in, and I did before that was completed. So now my air filters that'll be hanging from the ceiling already have dedicated outlets to them. So that'll work.
That is nice. That thing must be like a refrigerator. You know, you won't be able to feel anything from outside.
That's the inside unit for the HVAC. So here's what's crazy with the, there's still no garage door on here yet. But if I back up out here to where you can see the whole front again. So if I stand inside my regular garage with the garage door open, and then I go stand in there with no garage, you can already feel a temperature difference. It's this foam stuff is pretty awesome. So that's pretty much the update. We were talking about the lumber and the 2x4s, and if we had any, maybe we could get a ride somewhere. So when they were getting rid of what they called scraps, I was like, hey, that's not scrap. Save those for me. So I got quite a few here.
You own them.
Yep. So any old ways, that's that. I can show you one other chunk of wood that I got. It's a piece of giant pine. Don't know exactly which kind of pine. My sister and one of her friends found that on the side of the road. They're like, oh, Doug could use that. And those two ladies manhandled that thing into a minivan. And then I had to get it out, which was not easy. But I'm like, what were you two thinking? I don't know what I'm going to make out of it. It's got huge cracks all through it, but their heart was in the right place. And I couldn't say no. So once things get back under control, I'll figure out something and make them both something out of it. But I just, how did you two lift this thing?
Here's an idea.
You cut it along the cracks, Doug. Doug, cut it along the cracks and make like goblet blanks for it.
Goblets, you can make pen blanks out of it. I don't got to collect pens.
Yeah, one of these days, the guy that distributes the pen should probably learn how to make a pen. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you, Doug.
Well,
Appreciate
any old way. So that's what I got. And like I said, Trey had sent me the stuff and convinced me to go the copper route with my air. So I am 100% going to do that. And after I looked into it, it's actually going to save me quite a bit of money going that way, just because of the difference in the prices of all the fittings. That was a huge money saver. So thanks again, Trey, for still on. That was awesome. I really appreciate you doing that for me.
No problem. And I really wrote the article for the two of y'all that are building your shop now, but it's good for anybody else. Look at it. It's good for air distribution.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really appreciate it too.
Well, all right. That's about all I got.
Okay. Well, let's go back to Detroit and see what else Alfred's got here. Hey, Alfred, you're up.
Hey, am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay, we were talking about, Paul was talking about the chucks and, you know, the how to get the perfect circle. And what I did a couple of jigs. And, you know, this would be for my different, this is for my big one-way. So you have the inboard and outboard. That is for doing the this side will be the minimum you have to do for doing the tenon, and this is for the recess. And the same as for that, so that would be for 100 millimeter, and this would be for a 50 millimeter. And you just put it on there where you're close, and you know, once it goes. If you're smaller than this, you got a problem. But you try and aim to get into that diameter, and that's where you get the maximum grip on your piece of wood or your tenon or the recess. because that's where it's close to being a perfect circle. So it's very simple, just hanging on the side. When I'm close, I just put it on the tenon. I'm there or I'm not there. You know, it's like a go and no go gauge.
Yeah.
Real simple.
Great idea. Hey, I'm going to throw something out here, folks. This is one jig or one template. I've created another one. We had it in detail in on another one. Why don't we all get together? Yeah, all get together and do a little sketch of what we think our gauge or our template would be, and send it all to that slacker we call for our webmaster, Dave Rhodes, and let Dave put them in our website, and he can put them all in there. And then, depending on your ability to create or your need or how you would use it, you can make decisions on which ones you may want to make. So let's all get together and do that. Send them all, Tenon and Mortise and Tenon details on how to gauge them. Send them on to our website, worldwidewoodturners.org, and Dave will use them. And he can't do it right now because he's uploading that demonstration from tonight. I mean, he's not doing anything else. He's going to get that thing up like that because he's got the first one up Paul did, and now he gets step number 2. Right, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
see, we woke him up. He's one of those guys that
I got to unmute. I always keep myself.
Yeah, and I got something else. Dean was talking about the how to change the screwdriver, regular screwdriver. I did this one. Actually, I did this with 3 different faces. It's like an off center, so that doesn't roll down. And you can change for the number 2 and the number 1, and then they can change. Actually, this is a Harbor Freight, and I have no problem with it. It works fine. The only thing is you have to use these, not Harbor Freight. But the mechanism works fine, and it's magnetic, and so I did a ferrule for it like we do for normal. I just epoxied, the hardware in there, and I find this so helpful because it's not round, and it's got that grip, so you got more leverage on it. But that's something different.
I like yours, but I'm going to throw this thing. All the ones I do, I'll leave one side flat.
Yes.
Because I don't like bending over.
They don't roll off. Wherever you leave them, they stay there. Especially you're working on a lathe. You're not always picking it up from the floor. Under all my wood turning handles that I do, I usually leave a flat on them too.
Yeah, you can tell by my shape. I don't like bending over for anything. So if I can make it easier, that's how it's going to be.
Well, unless it's $100 bill, I will.
Oh, I can get somebody to come get that. All right, we have who we have? Dane, you have somebody else up tonight? I see a couple of questions.
Let me double check here, see if anybody else popped in anything.
How about Rusty Gates?
Let's see, Rusty's got a question about CNC and laser engravers. So Rusty, let me pull you up so you can ask your questions. You go ahead and start talking, Rusty. I'll bring you up.
All right. I went out and got me a little CNC machine, and I can't get this thing to work for nothing. I can't seem to get the programming into my computer and get it all going and figure it all out. It's a CNC 3018 Pro, and if anybody's got something like that and knows how to use it and can take a little time to explain it to the dummy, I'd sure appreciate any help I can get.
Are you anti throwing your phone number in the chat?
No, I'll throw it right up in there.
Throw your phone number up in the chat. That way, if somebody's got it, it'll be in the chat and they give you a call and look it up. But you're not alone. I had the same problem when I bought my laser engraver, the NAJ. I couldn't get the software to load in my computer. And it was a very simple step. very simple step, but not one I found right away. All right.
Like I say, I just bought it. I put it together. Everything works. I've made everything move, but that's all I should get done out of it is make everything move. And if you're going to call me, please text me first and let me know who you are, because I don't answer the phone unless I see a number I recognize.
But I got this deal to extend your auto warranty.
Yeah, that's why.
All right. Who's up, Dane?
Well, let's go with, let's see, Bray wanted to show something at Bray's woodworking.
Yeah, I got something.
Hey, don't put your hat on inside. That's just
okay.
That's off.
Made out of ambrosia maple.
Whoa, nice.
Now, will that fit a 7 1/4 head?
I can't hear you, Dane. What'd you say?
Will that fit 7 1/4?
I'm not sure what this one is.
You know, if it's big, you can always wrap duct tape around your head, Dane.
I'll send some. I'll send you my address, and when you send it to me, and I'll let you know.
Okay. It's
That's
actually too
beautiful
small.
hat.
It's actually too small for me. But I've been making some miniature hats, so that's kind of fun.
It's a good test of turning skills.
Oh yeah, it tests every nerve you got.
Well, you learn how to hold wood, how wood's going to move, and how to put a finish on a piece, and be as thin as a really thin piece of cardboard.
Yeah, and one of the most exciting things about turning it is getting it so thin that turning all the lights out, putting the light in behind it, and then cutting down to a certain color. That's what's exciting.
Well, nowadays with all the LED lights, you don't get the heat. When I started doing mine about 20 years ago, with incandescents, you had a lot of heat and it would dry your rim out, and they'd go to flipping and flopping on you.
Yes, the earlier ones I did was probably about 20 years ago, and you're totally right on that.
Yeah, heat's your enemy at that time, and the best ones I've done, I had dunked in a bucket of water halfway through to keep the moisture up.
Yep.
And they warped out like crazy when they were drying, which is what you want.
Yeah, and you put them in that jig and put some pressure on them. You can shape them just about any way you want.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. I mean, when you get those sides to curl up, the one I have here looks more Australian than it does American cowboy. But I've turned a couple really got weird, which was nice. They all went to auctions. All right, who up, Dane? You got anybody up?
No, nobody else.
All right, it's coming up on 9 o'clock Central Time. We normally wrap it up about 9 o'clock. I'll stay here and talk for a few minutes if you choose. And then we're going to pull the plug and get going. We're here every Wednesday evening. And tonight we started about 5:45 with 52 people in the box. Went up to about 120 at one point. So we've had a lot of people attend. Numbers aren't important, folks. They're not important at all. What it means is those are the folks you can share your information with, that you can ask questions to, that you can get responses from and ideas. Tonight we learned out how to build tools, how to modify tools, how to sharpen tools, how to use tools, jigs, rigs, patterns. We even found out that Doug Rose learned how to turn his lathe with his left hand. Well, because the power is not on. So we learn a lot each and every week. And we want you to be here, but like I said before, or I asked before, where are your club members? Not this club, that other club. Invite them to join us. We're all invited and they're all welcome. I think that's where the term worldwide woodturners came from. Got a lot of folks say got to duck out tonight, and remind you, we're still turning wig stands. It's a great cause. If you get involved, let us know. Send us a photograph. We take photographs of everything you turn, and no ifs, ands, or buts. I like that but, no buts allowed. What would you do if there's no ifs or and not there? We take your art for your art, your working for your working, your wood for your wood. And we'll put it in our newsletter and on our website. We can't do it until you send it to us. So please send us the photographs, send us the articles about the gauges. I see about those gauges. And if you're doing Freedom Pens, send us your Freedom Pens. Those addresses for Freedom Pens is on our website, Doug Moore in Arizona, and he will put them in the hands of our troops, preserving our future, protecting our
Doug Rowe in Arizona, but you know.
What?
Doug Rowe in Arizona. Doug Moore's that cool guy up in Michigan.
Cool guy in Michigan.
Doug
At least not Doug Miller.
Doug Moore is pole
Too
barn.
many Dougs to keep us all straight. I understand.
Oh man.
Doug Moore is pole barn. Doug Miller is Kentucky guy, and Doug Rowe is Colorado first sergeant with the Pens.
So close. Arizona.
Gonna start labeling Doug 1, 2, and 3.
Who's the guy in
Doug
Colorado?
Smith in there too.
Well, that's Dave.
Smith, you still there?
Don't forget.
And I don't do names, and you wonder why.
I
All right,
think at
folks.
this point, if you don't know somebody's name in the club, just try Doug. There's a good chance you might get it right.
Yeah, I'm going over to Doug's house. Hey, All right, folks, that's it for this evening. I thank you so much. This is your wood turning club. I'm just here moderating it. It's your club. Thanks so much. Please be safe. That's the important part. We want to see you and all your friends back next Wednesday evening. Say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody. Kevin.
Good night, all, and don't forget to save the chat.
Good night.
Oh, save the chat. Save the chat.
Bye.
Like that.
Let's see what we're getting down to. 45, folks.